coach of the Razorbacks in his first year. They need 2 more wins to become bowl eligible. This would be a big one if they can steal it on the road. The Gamecocks winning the toss and deferring will kick off. Carolina led by that man, Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier now in year number 4, already bowl eligible, but trying to pick up a couple of more wins to have a magical season. Gamecocks could be well on their way if they can take care of business against an Arkansas program which they've struggled against since joining the league in 1992. Dennis Johnson is back to receive for the Razorbacks. Ryan Suckup hammers it. This one going all the way into the end zone, about 8 yards deep, and the Razorbacks will wisely take it at the 20. 1st and 10, our first look at the Razorback offense, led by Casey Dick, the senior quarterback, and Michael Smith, the junior tailback, who leads the Southeastern Conference in rushing. But Casey Dick was the headliner last week in an upset win over Tulsa. Casey Dick, a couple of yards shy of the school record, throwing for 385 yards. They'll start off with an empty backfield. Dick out of the shotgun. 5 in the pattern. The throw is behind the intended target. Incomplete. That was Carlton Salters, the 6-foot sophomore out of Tallahassee, Florida. Cliff Matthews with some heavy pressure on Casey Dick.
And Arkansas usually likes to spread things out to help Michael Smith, their tailback, but that was the empty backfield. A little bit of a different look there.
2nd down and 10. This Gamecock defense 3rd in the nation. One of the top secondaries in the country. Casey Dick's going to be going up against it. Dick getting off to a slow start this year, but he's picked it up of late. This is his 4th career start against South Carolina, so he's pretty familiar with playing with the Gamecocks, or against the Gamecocks rather, as the Razorbacks try to run it wide to the left side. Michael Smith doing the honors. Eric Norwood shoves him out after a pickup of 4 yards. 3rd down and 6. The ball spotted at the 24-yard line. Razorbacks, Jonathan Lewiggs is a Remington Trophy Award winner, the nation's top center. He's been around the block for a while. The Razorbacks have a lot of young, talented receivers, but the key word being young. They're still learning this offense, still learning how to play at the SEC level. Passing situation here on 3rd down and 6. It's Dick going far side and overshoots Michael Smith, the back, who only stands 5'7", and the Razorbacks will have to punt it away. Carlos Thomas was on the coverage.
Well, they flooded the zone there at the top of your screen, and the Gamecocks read it well. Actually had 2 defenders in the vicinity, so a big 3 and out for the Gamecocks, and that's huge for this Gamecock defense, who's played so well this year. Of course, you remember what happened last year when the Razorbacks broke all kinds of records running wild against South Carolina. More than 500 yards on the ground last year.
Jeremy Davis is the punter. Kind of rare to see number 50 on a punter's jersey. He's out of Fort Smith, Arkansas. He's a senior. Captain Munnerlin back to receive. The Gamecocks have really improved their return game, particularly on kickoffs. Punt returns, not so much. This is a terrible kick off the side of the foot and out of bounds, unreturnable. But the Gamecocks will have terrific field position at the Arkansas 44-yard line. No score with 13:59 remaining to go in the first quarter of play. Gamecocks and the Razorbacks in an SEC showdown. We're back with more on Sports South. Chris Smelly is the quarterback. Apparently looking more impressive in warm-ups. More on that in a moment. Smelly looking deep down the far sideline, looking for Jason Barnes, who's been quiet the last couple of weeks. Barnes had a step but could not find the ball. Ramon Broadway was on the coverage, the sophomore out of Shreveport, Louisiana. But Brad, we've already gotten the first answer, and now we're going to have a second answer to the question of who exactly the quarterback's going to be. Smelly comes out for the first play. Now Garcia's in for the second play.
Well, Steve Spurrier said whoever looked better in pregame warm-ups was going to get the start. We didn't realize that was going to mean one play.
Does that mean that Garcia looked better on the bench during that smelly pass. I don't know. Here's a little trick play. McKinley, he's got a bunch of room down the near sideline. 20, 15, where he's shoved out of bounds. Kenny McKinley getting closer and closer to the all-time record for a Gamecock receiver in yardage. He's just 26 yards away from becoming the all-time leading receiver coming in. And we'll see how many yards they mark off on this one.
We take a look at it here. And again, the receiver screen set up nicely. Good blocking downfield. They caught the Gamecocks napping, and there's the record.
Yep, 30 yards.
Yep, 30-yard reception. Kenny McKinley, add that to the many records he holds for South Carolina.
Now another quick pass play intended for McKinley on the slant, but Garcia unable to put it in his hands.
Actually, I think that was Smelly.
That is Smelly back in.
They're rotating quarterbacks on every play right now, and Steve Spurrier hasn't done this all year, but he's done this before in Florida.
That did this at Florida back in the late 90s, and it looks like we might be seeing some early chicanery from Steve Spurrier here today. So this will be a spotter's nightmare. Eric Gomarez will be on his A game today, I'm sure. Here is Garcia going to tuck it and run. He's got a lot of room. 10-5 and into the end zone where he's finally pounded, but not before a 14-yard scamper, and the Gamecocks are on the board.
I believe that's a designed run all the way. Mike Davis, and I believe a lineman running downfield to set up the blocks for Stephen Garcia, the more mobile quarterback of the two for South Carolina today, and rolls to his right and really goes untouched thanks to a great block, I believe, by tailback Mike Davis. As you take a look at it here, here's Davis leading the way, and yeah, just takes out one of the linebackers for Arkansas, and Garcia goes in for 6.
Well, between that play and the first Kenny McKinley reception, Arkansas looked absolutely lost on defense. So the Gamecocks on the board, 7-0, a 44-yard drive, which takes just 43 seconds off the clock. To Williams-Brice Stadium here in Columbia, South Carolina, at a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Gamecocks coasting on the opening drive. Again, it took all of 43 seconds to go 44 yards. The key play, a 30-yard reception by Kenny McKinley. That was from Chris Smelly. Then Garcia rushing for 14 yards into the end zone as Steve Spurrier alternating quarterbacks on every play on that first drive. Brandon Barnett is back to receive, along with Dennis Johnson, who fields it at the 5, looking for an alley. Scampers and crawls his way past the 25 and down to the 26-yard line. Jordan Lindsay with a special team stop for the men in black. So Arkansas's offense back out onto the field, a 3-and-out the first time around. Their offense is led by Paul Petrino, the younger brother of Bobby Petrino, and Steve Spurrier very happy with what he saw on that first drive. A quick and lethal drive for the Gamecocks, and we'll see if he's going to continue to rotate quarterbacks on every play. Again, he's done it before. 1st and 10 from the 26. Play action. Dick lobbing it, and that'll go out of bounds. Good coverage on the right side by Captain Munro, and Eric Norwood was on the pressure, and now a late flag thrown at the 10-yard line. They're probably going to call grounding. He was not outside the tackle box. As you look at the Gamecock starting defensive line, Jordan Lindsay's really played some good football. Cliff Matthews coming along.
Intentional grounding on the offense. The ball will be placed in the spot of the foul. First down.
That's Thomas Ritter, our referee for today. The linebackers, Eric Norwood, as we highlighted in the open, playing terrific, maybe the best football he has played now in his junior campaign out of Ackworth, Georgia. In the secondary, Chris Culver will play center field. He's a good one. Stoney Woodson with 7 career interceptions, and Emmanuel Cook, maybe the best tackling safety in the Southeastern Conference. So after the penalty, it's 2nd down and 25. Looked like movement on the line. Penalty flag is thrown, and this play will not even be an official play, as it looked like the left guard Wade Grayson jumped early. That'll make it 2nd down and 30 if that is indeed what the penalty
Prior
is.
to the snap, false start, 73. Offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That was actually 71. Wade Grayson, who jumped early for Arkansas. So already, Brad, the Razorbacks have dug themselves a heck of a hole.
Yeah, it looks like they've missed their wake-up call. They've been asleep so far on offense and seem to be asleep on defense to some unusual plays by South Carolina on their first possession.
Well, let's see what the Petrino brothers have dialed up for 2nd and 30. Dick has time, fires in the flat, complete at the 10, and down to the 19-yard line. That is Jarius Wright. Eric Norwood is there to assist on the tackle. Wright's a 5'10 freshman out of Warren, Arkansas, his 13th grab of the year. They will play a bunch of receivers. They have what they call not only the traditional X, Y, and Z, but also the W as well. It's a 12-yard pickup on the play, sets up a 3rd down and 18. Michael Smith is the lone back. He's to Dick's right. Gamecock showing a 3-man rush. Dick all day now fires and intercepted. Addison Williams with his first career INT, the sophomore out of Atlanta, Georgia, as Dick at the last moment had some pursuit from the backside by Cliff Matthews.
And take a look at it here. The Gamecocks actually rush only 2. Here's the pressure by Matthews. Actually gets to him. One of the defensive linemen actually backed up into coverage to cover the tailback out of the backfield. Still got pressure with only 2 rushing. And the Gamecocks in business here once again.
Well, you're right, Brad. They only sent 2 guys. How do you get a guy in the backfield that quickly when you're only rushing 2 and you've got 5 to block? Those are the answers Bobby Petrino and company will look for. Now they're reviewing the last play. They're going to see if Addison had a little help from the ground hauling this interception in. It looked pretty good at the first angle. Let's take another look.
Yeah, take a look at it here. I don't know if we'll be able to see if it hit the ground or not. As you see the pressure coming in from the backside. And take a look here. I think that's a catch. Can't see if he bobbled it at the end there. But he was definitely... Ball did not hit the ground on the throw. It's whether or not he bobbled it coming down. If he had his hands underneath it, he should have been in good shape, and that's what it appeared.
And again, they're looking at the same angles in that DV Sport official replay booth as you folks at home are watching right now. And if that's the only angle they're looking at, there's no way they could reverse it on that. If they see another angle, maybe after he hauled it in, it hit the ground.
Mike, the South Carolina defense has been so good all year, tops in the SEC, and it seems to be getting better. Last week against Tennessee, they held the Volunteers to just 207 yards of total offense. And they sacked the quarterback 6 times, a season high. The ruling stands. The Gamecocks are going to have it here. So Gamecock offense in great field position here on their 2nd possession.
So for Casey Dick, an interception on the 2nd drive. That's his 12th of the year. First career pick for Addison Williams. That drive going for all of -8. Chris Smelly back in as Spurrier continues to rotate quarterbacks. Smelly in trouble, and he is swallowed up for a sack. Malcolm Shepard, the 6'3", 277-pound junior out of Bainbridge, Georgia, with his 4th sack of the year.
You know, these two teams have had a terrible time protecting their quarterbacks. That's the 32nd time that Gamecock quarterbacks have been sacked. They were tied with Arkansas, last in the league coming in, and you saw the pressure on the other end that helped cause the turnover, and Gamecocks give up their first sack there as Stephen Garcia checks back in at quarterback.
Terrence Campbell, starting at right guard, got beat on that play, a loss of 6. 2nd down and 16. Back to Garcia. Trying to dump it off to Davis. Dangerous pass with a whole lot of traffic over there. The play was well covered, and that'll make it 3rd down and long for Carolina.
And that's a play that actually worked well for the Gamecocks last week against Tennessee, as their wide receivers were really taken away from the offense last week, as Kenny McKinley was the only one of 2 wide receivers to catch a pass last week. Mo Brown had 1 reception, but other than that, all the receptions were going to the tight end and the tailbacks. Mike Davis couldn't hold on that play.
3rd down and long. Razorback showing a 4-man rush. It is Smelly in the gun. He surveys, fires on the middle, and the pass is dropped. It would have been shy of the 1st down anyway. Mo Brown, who's been quiet of late, he had 1 catch for 5 yards last week, but really, unless your name is Kenny McKinley, if you're a wide receiver, you've been quiet the last few weeks.
Exactly. You mentioned Jason Barnes, one of the top receivers the last few games, had no catches last week. Jared Cook, their leading receiver, had no catches last week. And at least a catch there makes it a shorter field goal attempt. Now you have a very long field goal attempt here for Ryan Succop.
Yeah, this officially would be 54 yards. His career long is 55. That came against Vanderbilt. Good snap, good hold. Kick is on the way. It's got the distance, and it is good. 54 yards for Ryan Succop, who had been struggling before hitting a couple of field goals last week against Tennessee. But a big-time effort there as Succop booms it through from 54 yards, and the Gamecocks take a 10-0 lead. The senior out of Hickory, North Carolina, showing off the leg. 10-0 our score.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please direct your attention to the northwest corner of the stadium as we recognize one of our own, Mr. Marvin A. Hyatt, as the Gamecock Club legendary fan of the game. Mr. Hyatt was a member of the USC class of 1959 and longtime supporter of Carolina athletics through the Gamecock Club. Owns and operates Good Pharmacy in Rock Hill. Presenting the legendary fan of the game, Glacier Mr. Hyatt, is Gamecock Club Director Patrick Carlin and Rick Skinner from Bill Owings Custom Boating. Gamecock fans, please show your appreciation to today's legendary fan of the game, Mr. Marvin Hyatt from Rock Hill.
Gamecocks with a 10-0 lead. Ryan Succop, who just hit his 2nd longest field goal of his career. And boy, Ryan had his Wheaties today. There is a bit of a wind out there, but I'm not sure if it's at his back right now. It's more of a circling wind, but a 54-yarder and 2 kickoffs that really had virtually no chance of being returned. That's the scoring drive. It doesn't look pretty necessarily from a yardage standpoint, but it's 3 points nonetheless. A season-long field goal for the senior Ryan Succop, and let it be known that the slump that was is officially over.
Yeah, he's made 3 in a row after going through a tough 2 or 3 game stretch. So Ryan Succop, the senior, making the most so far of his last home game here at Williams-Brice.
So the Razorbacks Spreading it out a little bit, giving to Michael Smith, who's weaving his way through traffic, picking his way through tacklers. That's first down yardage before Emmanuel Cook collects his 73rd tackle of the year. 13-yard pickup for Michael Smith, who's a great story. Again, this is the year of the diminutive tailback, and watch him move here.
Gets good blocking up front, and he's just so quick. He's not a big guy, only 5'7", about 175 pounds, and the SEC's leading rusher. He's just got that explosive burst to the line of scrimmage, and that's what makes him so successful. He's not going to knock anybody over, but he's carrying on the tradition of fine tailbacks at Arkansas in the last couple of years.
Everybody wondered how they were going to replace McFadden and Jones, but they've done a pretty good job with Michael Smith. Meanwhile, this Arkansas Razorback offense still trying to get on the same page as they burn a timeout with 10:51. They get 10:48 to play in the first quarter. Mike Morgan, Brad Muller with you here from Williams-Brice Stadium. Gamecocks leading the Razorbacks by a score of 10-0. Carolina scoring on the first two drives of the game for the Gamecocks. First one going 44 yards in 43 seconds. The second one off the interception by Addison Williams, backed up 6 yards, but then Ryan Suckup bailing them out with a 54-yarder. And Brad, we talked about the key matchup going into this game. Could this Gamecock defense, which has been so dominating this year, keep Michael Smith under wraps so far, with the exception of that last run? They've done a good job, and Casey Dick can't find any receivers open up to this point.
Right, Michael Smith's going to get a lot of chances, of course. We mentioned he leads the SEC in rushing, also leads the SEC in rushing attempts. So other than Michael Smith, you're not going to see a lot of other Razorbacks carry the football. This Gamecock defense is so tough, however. They've only allowed one team to average more than 4 yards per carry all season long. They've been pretty stingy.
It is senior day here, homecoming. The Gamecocks honoring 25 seniors before the kickoff today, and this will be the last home game of the year for Carolina. The final two games, of course, will be on the road, and there'll be two big ones and two challenging ones in Gainesville next week to take on the Florida Gators, then the bye. Then 3 weeks from now, it'll be a matchup in Death Valley against the Clemson Tigers. Razorbacks spread it out, 3 wide set. Man in motion, that is Joe Adams. And Adams gets the football, but is dropped for a loss. Darian Stewart, the spur, the junior out of Huntsville, Alabama, stops him for a loss of 2.
Well, Darian Stewart tied or fourth on the Gamecocks in tackles, has 28 solo. And these defensive backs with the spur, if you want to put that for Darian Stewart, are so good one-on-one tackling. You know, not everybody has good run support from the defensive backs, but the Gamecocks can go one-on-one with anybody.
You know, Stewart's a good story. In a way, he's emblematic of the rest of this defense. He was not a stud recruit coming out of high school in Huntsville. As Dick completes the pass again, Michael Smith stopped right near the line of scrimmage. Marvin Sapp, who's been a tackling machine this year. Travian Robertson getting some pressure in there. Pickup of about 3. But going back to Darian Stewart, Ron Cooper, who was a holdover from the Lou Holtz staff, he played, Darian Stewart did, in Ron Cooper's old high school. And that's how he was able to go in there and grab him. But they've been able to get Stewart out of Alabama. They got Captain Munnerlyn. It wasn't a very highly recruited player. Captain Munnerlyn out of Mobile, Alabama. So far, both of them have done a great job as starters. Here's 3rd down and 10 for Casey Dick and company. Dick flushed out to the right and will collide with the down marker. Darian Stewart and Cliff Matthews were running at him full speed. The Razorbacks will have to punt it away.
Well, the second week in a row, we're seeing a lot of different looks by the South Carolina defense. Darian Stewart again in on the pressure. Ellis Johnson, the defensive coordinator, not afraid to mix things up and where he brings pressure, whether it's from the defensive backs, the linebackers, and you see the pursuit there by the guys in black. Nowhere for Casey Dick to throw the football.
Loss of 2 yards on the play, so on 4th and 12 now, Razorbacks will punt it away. Captain Munnerlyn is parked at the 32-yard line. Here comes some heavy pressure. That's a good one. High spiraling kick. Munnerlyn backpedaling, looking into the sun. He fumbled it. Ball is on the ground, still on the ground, and I think Carolina got it after it bounced around a few times. Might have been Jameer Williams on the recovery. Yep, 23, Jameer Williams, who's a special teams guy all the way. It's the only time we ever see Jameer Williams out there, and that's a big pickup by Williams, because right now Arkansas has nothing going effectively on offense. This could have changed the direction of this game.
You take a look at the scramble here. The Razorbacks had a chance at it, so did several Gamecocks, but Williams comes up with it. Looked like Captain Munderland looked up into the sun, looked down, may have taken his eye off the ball just for a second, lost concentration. The sky today, no clouds, a little bit of sun. First day game at home for the Gamecocks, and just lost it.
Chris Smelly back in at quarterback. Eric Baker, the freshman out of Jacksonville, dotting the I behind Patrick DeMarco. Smelly hands it off to Baker. He finds some daylight up the middle before being brought down by Rashad Johnson. Give him 6 yards. It'll be 2nd and 4. Starting lineup. Offensive line has been certainly the subject of a lot of conversation around here. Leading the league in sacks allowed, and they have not been able to get any push in terms of getting the ground game going. Receiving core, Kenny McKinley obviously the leader there. Jared Cook's been quiet, been battling a foot injury. We'll see if Jared Cook can get back on track. Meanwhile, it's more Eric Baker. He lowers the shoulder, staggers forward, past the marker for a first down, just shy of the 35-yard line.
They're very high on Eric Baker, the freshman from Jacksonville. He's a little guy, 5'11", under 190 pounds. Has had a little bit of trouble with the fumbles this year, and he's also gotten knocked goofy a couple of times. But if he's healthy, they think he's got a good chance to be their future at tailback.
A 4-yard gain gives the Gamecocks a first down. Chris Smelly back in at quarterback. Baker remains at tailback. Smelly hauls in the high snap, quickly dumps it off to Baker. Baker falls forward for a couple. Malcolm Shepard doing a good job of reading that play. Arkansas defensively, well, they've had their problems this year. Defensive line led by Malcolm Shepard, who we've mentioned a couple of times already. Davis also a good one. Wendell Davis, the middle linebacker, junior out of Sweeney, Texas. And the secondary have been a little bit banged up coming into this game in the secondary, but their biggest problem has been stopping the run. Dead last in the SEC. It's a direct snap to Eric Baker, who wrestles for a couple of yards. That's actually Mike Davis on the carry. Mike Davis getting the direct snap. Davis averaging 3.5 yards per carry. They'd like to see that number be augmented sometime between now and the end of the year, as this Gamecock offense trying to find a running game and has been missing for most of this year between Davis, Baker, and Bobby Wallace, who we will see from time to time today.
Yeah, the Gamecock offense, especially in SEC games, really struggled. They're averaging only 2 yards per carry in their SEC contests.
Smelly in the shotgun on 3rd down and 6. And a timeout called before the snap. Carolina calls it. Steve Spurrier did not like what he saw.
South Carolina, that is their first charge timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout.
So 6:22 remaining. Gamecocks with a 10-0 lead. Alongside Brad Muller, Mike Morgan with you here from Williams-Brice Stadium. We thank you for stopping by. The Gamecocks so far rather dominating in this game. Arkansas unable to get anything going offensively. And Brad, we knew the big mystery coming into this game. Steve Spurrier not tipping his hand. I'm not sure if he really knew what he wanted to do. And he made a decision apparently in warm-ups that he was going to rotate quarterbacks by the play as opposed to by the series or anything else.
Yeah, really keeping the Razorbacks off balance. Garcia's directed the offense a little bit further. Smelly has had some incompletions and some drops, but Garcia in there now, but so far it's worked well.
3rd down and 6 for the Gamecocks. It's Garcia with Mike Davis to his right. Garcia rolling out, looking downfield. Garcia lobs it, intercepted at the 50. by the Razorbacks. That's Dallas Washington, the senior out of Douglasville, Texas. That's his first career interception.
And that's just a terrible pass by Stephen Garcia. He threw it really into no man's land. There was 3 or 4 white jerseys. I believe Kenny McKinley was the only Gamecock in the area. As you take a look at it here, and he gets nothing on the pass. You take a look at his eyes and what he's seeing. There's 3 white jerseys there. There's nowhere to go with that. And just put too much air underneath it. That's an easy pick. And Arkansas with their best field position of the day.
Way too many white jerseys in that area to get away with that soft a throw. So the second turnover of the game, the first on the Gamecocks. First and 10 Razorbacks from the 48. They give this to Michael Smith. He tries to go off left tackle. The play is shut down after a gain of about a yard.
Mike, the South Carolina defense has been so good about putting out fires, as we like to say, all season long. The Gamecocks have now committed 25 turnovers on the year. And South Carolina's defense has allowed only 27 points off those turnovers. We'll see what they come up with here with Arkansas at midfield.
Yeah, I think that might be the most impressive stat on the sheet in regards to this defense. Defense rushing just 2 on this play. Dick going to tuck it and run. He's not much of a runner. And he is devoured at midfield after a loss on the play. Shaq Wilson, among others, including Jordan Lindsay on the rush there.
Well, I tell you who helped makes this play as we got an injury on the play is Jordan Lindsay. He's staying with the tailback. Michael Smith dropping into coverage against him while Casey Dick is scrambling. But then once he sees Dick commit to the run, he comes up and helps make out the tackle.
Shaq Wilson, the injured player on the field. We'll find out what's going on with Shaq, the freshman. 5:16 to play in the first quarter of play. It's the Gamecocks on top, 10-0. Shaq Wilson is okay. The Razorbacks quickly to the line on 3rd down and 11. And a penalty flag, 3 of them, in fact, all over the field. Nick, you and I are doing the same thing, counting black jerseys.
Yeah.
It might be 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'm counting 12 still on the field.
Yeah. Gamecocks took one off, put 2 on.
Substitution infraction on the defense. 12 players in formation. 5 yards. Remains 3rd down.
Mike Morgan, Brad Muller with you here in the first quarter of play. Carolina leading at 10-0 after the 12 men on the field. Penalty is 3rd down and 6 now for the Razorbacks. Trips to the left side for Casey Dick. Gamecocks showing blitz. They bring the house. Dick is devoured. Darian Stewart absolutely lays the lumber on him. A big loss on the play, and Arkansas will have to punt it away.
Another sack by Darian Stewart. He's been involved in 3 plays behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage. And again, South Carolina disguising their blitzes here. They blitz a few from the outside. They have a couple of defensive linemen drop back into coverage, and the Arkansas linemen unable to pick it up. They can't take advantage of the field position. They'll have to punt it back to the Gamecocks.
A 9-yard loss on the play, and Munnerlyn will get another chance to field this punt cleanly. Fumbled the last one away, luckily recovered by a teammate. Almost a block there. Like Freeman was coming in free, and Munnerlyn calls for the fair catch at the 12-yard line, where Carolina will take over 1st and 10. Well, so far, Brad, if you're the Gamecocks, you're pretty much everything that you wanted to see. The surprise of sorts with the quarterback situation, but the Gamecocks moving the football pretty well, and the defense absolutely dominating the offense of Arkansas as we look at the Century Club. That list is about as impressive a list as you're going to find in terms of college football coaching. Every one of those guys on the list has won at least one national title. Bear Bryant, John Vaught, multiple national titles. Vince Dooley and Steve Spurrier each with one in their time. Smelly stumbles in, recollects his feet and tries to find Jason Barnes running down the far hash, but he was bracketed. Nowhere to really put that ball without going into harm's way, so it'll be 2nd and 10.
Arkansas had that covered well, and the Gamecocks have really been unable to get the deep ball all season long. They struggled with the interceptions early in the season, attempting the deep ball back when Chris Smelly was starting most of the games, and then Tommy Beecher the first game of the season. They've gone more with the short passing routes, and now they're deep in their own end, 2nd and 10.
Garcia back in. He's got DeMarco and Davis behind him. Davis to Davis, trying to find room off the left side, and he is smothered by Dallas Washington, who rides him down to the turf.
And that's, again, something that's been a problem for the South Carolina offense with the running game, is whoever's at tailback, and they've used a lot of them this year, 3 or 4 different guys, is the inability to make anybody miss. It looks like Davis has a hole there to the outside, but he just can't get past the first defender. The Gamecocks don't really have that burner this year at the tailback position that's going to beat someone to the corner, and you see it there with Mike Davis.
He's not a turn the corner back, and they hope Eric Baker is, or at least will become one. So after no gain, it's 3rd down and 10. Smelly back in there, looking right, lobs it on the corner route. Beautiful one-handed grab by Kenny McKinley. Kenny McKinley stretches out with one hand, hauls it in, and when in doubt, go to the senior from Mableton, Georgia.
Well, as we said earlier, he has just about every career receiving record for the Gamecocks. And take a look at this here. He breaks his route. The ball's already in the air. Looks up there. It is one-handed catch. That's going to be a top 10 play. You're going to see that all week.
21-yard grab by Kenny McKinley, who's getting closer and closer to Joey Kent, former Tennessee star, for 10th place all-time in the SEC in receiving yardage. McKinley's a guy that, as soon as he found out Spurrier got the job, he went out of his way to call and say, I'm going to Carolina, as McKinley got open there as well, but Garcia overshot him. McKinley 2 catches for 51 yards already, and almost had another big play right there. But McKinley was originally recruited by Lou Holtz and Company. He was a quarterback in high school, and you see he's now an all-time leader in not only receptions but yards as well. Has an outside chance of catching Sidney Rice in touchdowns, but he's going to have to really have a monster final 3-4 games of the year. But as soon as Kenny McKinley found out Steve Spurrier was going to be the new coach, he went out of his way to say, that's where I want to go. I want to play for Steve Spurrier in that offense. As Mo Brown tackled behind the line for a loss. They've tried that receiver screen the last few weeks, but it has not gone anywhere. Loss of about 5.
And that play's only going to work if you get the blocking from your other receivers out there. Joe Hill's one of the other receivers trying to block a defensive back and just totally whiffs on the block. And that's why that play is blown up for a loss. Arkansas had it red.
Officially, they'll call it a loss of 4. 3rd down and 14 as Garcia re-enters the game.
3rd down's been a sore spot for the Gamecocks the last 2 games. 5 out of 26 prior to today in the last 2 games from 19%.
Arkansas only rushing 3. Garcia, pump fake, now looks downfield. Now he's going to tuck it and run, and he will be swallowed up at about the 36-yard line, well shy of a 1st down. Carolina will have to punt it away.
A good coverage again downfield. Remember, this is a secondary that lost all 4 starters from last year, but they've got everything covered. Garcia buying extra time here, which is his strength, his ability to run a little bit, but he just had too far to go. And the Razorbacks wrap him up. It'll be a punt for the Gamecocks.
Spencer Lanning, the reigning SEC Special Teams Player of the Week, and he had plenty of practice in that Tennessee game. He got 8 punts off. This one a wobbler. Going to bounce at the 25, takes a good bounce. Captain Munnerlyn will watch it roll dead at the 10-yard line. So a good job by Spencer Lanning, pinning another one inside the 20. Razorback football when we return. A 53-yarder for the sophomore out of Rock Hill, South Carolina, Spencer Lanning. First down and 10 for Arkansas. Razorbacks haven't been able to get anything going thus far. Here's Smith trying to sneak through a hole on the right side, but it's plugged quickly. Gain of about a yard. Michael Smith kept in check thus far. Lindsey and Norwood combining on that play. There's Jordan Lindsey losing his helmet.
The Gamecocks getting a good surge on that defensive line, not just on pass plays, but Nathan Pepper, number 95, almost takes the handoff. You see that there, just misses him, but he causes Michael Smith to stretch it out a little bit further, allows some of the other guys in black to catch up, Norwood and company.
Eric Norwood, already the all-time leader in Gamecock history, tackles for loss. He had 7.5 coming into this game. Second down and 8. Nothing doing. Jasper Brinkley stops that play for no gain.
So hard to run against this defense, especially when they have a lead. Most of the year, South Carolina hasn't had a chance to play with a big lead, but against Tennessee, they won by 3 touchdowns and off to a good start here. A little more comfortable for the Gamecocks on defense.
And that'll do it for the first quarter of play. Gamecock defense as good as advertised. Carolina out to an early 10-0 lead on Sports South. Second quarter action about to get underway here from Williams-Brice Stadium. Gamecocks on top 10-0. Arkansas with a 3rd down and 6. The Razorbacks have struggled mightily on offense thus far. Gamecocks coming on a stunt, and the pass is incomplete. Addison Williams, who already has 1 interception, was in on the coverage there. The Razorbacks now 16 plays and just 6 yards. They've been sacked 3 times, and they've thrown an interception.
And Casey Dick didn't really help himself out there. He was looking for the quick slant, but never looked at a second option. The Gamecock defensive backs and linebackers able to read that quickly, even though the pass was overthrown.
Jeremy Davis back on to punt. Averaging 43 yards a punt. Munnerlyn back again to receive. Back pedals as this one's a good one. All the way to the 32. Munnerlyn trying to find some room up the middle, but he's pushed back at the 40 by Freddie Burton of the Razorbacks. But again, good field position for this Carolina offense. Garcia throwing the interception. That's the one big mistake thus far for this offense. Chris Smelly will start off this drive. Smelly comes in 8-4 as a starter. You know, he was the SEC Player of the Week against Ole Miss. How quickly we forget. Had a rare 300-yard passing day in the SEC. There's only been a handful of those this year. And since then, he really struggled against Kentucky, lost the job in that game, and really has been a non-factor since.
It's really been a Jekyll and Hyde season for him. Of course, his inability to avoid the sack has really hurt him as well.
On first down, looking to throw, finds McKinley, far side. McKinley tiptoes out of bounds at the 46-yard line.
When Chris Smelly is on, he can be very good, as you said, in that game where he threw for over 300 yards at Ole Miss and 3 touchdown passes. Same thing last year when he was an on-again, off-again starter with Blake Mitchell, who's since graduated, but just hasn't been able to hold on to that position. I think, you know, a lot of people think Stephen Garcia is going to be the future. He's back in the game now because of his mobility.
Eric Baker is actually going to take the snap out of the gun, and he'll run it straight ahead. Kind of the Wildcat formation, which has stormed the nation, both in the college game and in the National Football League. It seems like everybody's got this package in now.
Yeah, it's worked for a lot of teams, and Coach Steve Spurrier is trying to give the Razorbacks a lot of different looks. We saw that on the opening possession, which the Gamecocks scored their touchdown. They had the hurry-up offense, a couple of quick snaps, and again, the whole shuffling of quarterbacks. Arkansas, I don't think, was prepared for that.
After a 2-yard pickup, it's 3rd and 2, and Smelly back in at quarterback. And another timeout called. This time it's Arkansas. So we've had 3 timeouts called already in the first half, 2 of them by Bobby Petrino's Razorbacks. 10-0 our score, the Gamecocks leading. Well, so far, Brad, we've had a game that the Gamecocks have dominated. Arkansas 15, make it 16 plays, just 6 yards thus far, 3 sacks, an interception, and the Casey Dick Michael Smith show, which has been pretty impressive the last few weeks. They've been silenced up to this point.
Yeah, the good news for Arkansas, if there is any at this point, is they are still very much in the ballgame. After that opening possession, the Gamecock offense has sputtered a little bit. They've had a couple of big plays here and there. We saw the one-handed catch by Kenny McKinley, but they haven't been able to sustain a drive since.
A 3rd down and 2. Jared Cook into the game for Carolina. He's been a non-factor thus far. They might want to get him involved, though. This offense certainly takes on a whole other element of effectiveness when Jared Cook is making plays. Gamecock offense back out onto the field with Kenny McKinley and Jared Cook, Mo Brown, and Jason Barnes all in the game. Toss sweep left side. It's Baker. He leaps and dives forward past the marker. That'll be a 1st down in Arkansas territory.
Quick count by the Gamecocks, and they got a couple of good lead blocks around the end. And Baker showing a little bit of quickness there, able to dive across. The Gamecocks, I believe, were only 1 of 4 in the first quarter on 3rd down. And again, the last 2+ games they've struggled on 3rd down, able to pick it up there at midfield.
Back to Garcia at quarterback. Garcia settles in. Now running around back there, looking deep downfield. Has Mo Brown, but out of the reach of the junior out of Anderson, South Carolina. Mo Brown coming into this game with 23 catches and 1 career touchdown. Stephen Garcia last week against Tennessee 9 of 19, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns. Left the game in the third quarter, got banged up, his knee did, on the interception that he threw. One Eric Berry on the interception for Tennessee, and then Garcia got roughed up, but he's okay. Weird formation here. This is the old Emery and Henry as Smelly throws it left side, complete to Joe Hills, a short pickup. That is a legal play, in case you're wondering. As long as you have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, you don't have to have them all bunched in there near the football on the line. They actually only have 3, Brad, a center and 2 guards, everybody else spread out.
And that was the play the Gamecocks had a big gainer on early in the first quarter on the first possession. But on that play, Wesley Saunders, the backup tight end, doesn't sustain his block, and Arkansas able to keep it to a short gain.
Spurrier going back to it here. Smelly in the shotgun. 3 to the left, 3 to the right. On 3rd down and 8, Smelly on the quick slant completes it to Wesley Saunders, the sophomore out of Durham, North Carolina. He might have the first down, or he might be short by about a foot, really close. A gain of 8 yards, give or take.
And you take a look at it here. Good strike here by Chris Smelly. That was pretty good coverage by the Razorbacks on the slant. Saunders able to hold on. Smelly, I believe, staying in there. This is usually where he likes to just keep it himself.
4th down and about a foot. Smelly will go to the left side and find a nice little push there. Give Jarrell King, the left tackle, some credit helping move that side of the line. Smelly could just fall forward, sit back, and go down. So the drive will continue. Garcia will come back in.
It's such a little thing, but that is actually something Chris Smelly does very well, is the quarterback sneak on 4th and 1. You've seen that all season long with him.
Garcia back in after a 3-yard pickup. Razorbacks sending 4. Garcia looking deep down the near sideline, looking for Hills. He's double covered on the play. Safety did a good job of getting over.
And good coverage once again. Again, this inexperienced secondary. There's a lot of players, a lot of young players on this Arkansas defense that are going to come off the bench, and some of them are actually starting. A lot of freshmen, again, that replaced all 4 starters in their secondary from last year. A lot of young guys getting playing time. They did a good job of coverage there. As you mentioned, I believe Rashad Johnson, one of the backup safeties, was coming in there to help out in the coverage, giving the receiver something else to think about.
Now 2nd down and 10. Smelly has time, delivers a strike over the middle to McKinley. McKinley breaks 1 tackle and is brought down with an ankle tackle at the 11-yard line by Dallas Washington. Otherwise, McKinley might have taken that one to the.
And McKinley, I believe that's his 3rd or 4th catch. He's over 50 yards already, probably closer to 70 yards. You take a look at it here. He's made a pretty good career against Arkansas. I'll run through those numbers in a minute. Good time this time for Smelly. McKinley with nice yards after the catch as well. Prior today in 3 games against Arkansas, Kenny McKinley, 17 catches, 217 yards and a touchdown. Last year in the loss in Arkansas, 7 catches, 72 yards.
25 yards on the hookup. Back to Garcia. McKinley in the slot, left side. Garcia going to tuck it and run. And he'll be brought down inside the 10 and about the 7. Sean Johnson, another tackle. 5 yards of real estate there for the Gamecock offense. And Chris Smelly will come back in.
Sometimes hold your breath when Garcia takes off running like that into traffic. Remember, he was banged up a little bit last week with that knee injury. Obviously, okay, he's in there playing today, but he's not exactly built like Tim Tebow. You hate to see him get banged around too much.
Under center, it's Smelly. He's looking to throw over the middle. He's got Cook, and he overshot him.
He also had his fullback, Patrick DeMarco, all by himself in the corner of the end zone, but Smelly couldn't find him. That would have been an easy 6, but he was looking for the tight end all the way.
And DeMarco was quarantined over there on the right side.
Take a look at it here. DeMarco doesn't even get touched coming out of the backfield. Smelly had already released it, however, and just missed him. That would have been 6 for the Gamecocks. Folks don't usually pay attention to DeMarco. He only has 1 carry and a couple of receptions all year.
So now it's 3rd down. The marker is inside the 2 and another timeout called. So each team burning 2 timeouts with 10-12 remaining. It's still the Gamecocks on top, 10-0. Again, we welcome you to Williams-Brice Stadium on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. SEC football. Gamecocks and the Razorbacks both entering the league the same year back in 1992. The Razorbacks have had the upper hand in this rivalry. And last year, Brad, there's never a loss that sits with you well, but I think maybe the most frustrating one for the players, the coaches, and the fans to take was that performance at Arkansas where McFadden and Jones ran all over the Gamecock defense.
Yeah, it was really disheartening. Darren McFadden ran for an SEC record 321 yards. He ran for a touchdown, passed for another. And Felix Jones, who's having a good season with the Dallas Cowboys this year, had 166 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground, more than 540 yards rushing. South Carolina had a pretty good offensive day as well. Blake Mitchell, the quarterback, threw for 364 yards, but the Gamecock defense, due to some injuries and some other things, just couldn't stop anybody in that game.
Yeah, what made it worse for the fans around here is that every time McFadden won an award or was up for an award, such as the Heisman Trophy, the highlight reel consisted of a lot of Gamecock defenders trying to tackle and failing to tackle one Darren McFadden. So that was a game that took more than a week to fully digest, but a chance for some revenge here. Arkansas a little bit more vulnerable right now as Bobby Petrino inheriting a team left by Houston Nutt, which lost a lot of key players. They start a ton of freshmen, more than anybody else in the Southeastern Conference. We mentioned the meeting last year, 48-36. You could argue it wasn't even that close, and McFadden and Felix Jones just put on a clinic against this Gamecock defense. Many of the names the same, but a lot more dominating this year. Smelly looking to pass, finds McKinley, but incomplete. Broken up at the last second by number 26. That is Ramon Broadway, the sophomore out of Shreveport, Louisiana. That was the 12th play of the drive, and the Gamecocks, when it's all said and done, will have to kick the field goal.
And Smelly staying in for consecutive plays. They had an unusual formation set up on the other side, maybe as a distraction, and pass a little bit underthrown. McKinley couldn't quite hang on to it. Good coverage by the Razorbacks.
So Suckup, who already hit one from 54, chip shot here of 25. And he missed it right. Well, it's hard to figure that one, Brad, other than you could say it was on the right hash as opposed to the middle of the field. You got to angle that in, but you will not see Ryan Suckup miss many from 25 yards. 9:57 remaining in the first half of play. The Gamecocks with a 10-0 advantage. Arkansas back on offense, trying to get something going. That's a start. Casey Dick throws it into the left flat, complete for what appears to be first down yardage. Lucas Miller, and then a little bit of extracurricular activity with Miller and Captain Munnerlyn. Miller is a junior at Huntington, Arkansas, came in 12 catches on the season. He actually caught a 35-yard touchdown from Darren McFadden last year against the Gamecocks.
And Mike, going back to that missed field goal by Ryan Suckup, I believe that was the first time he's missed from that short range or under 30 yards in his 4-year career.
Yeah, I can't recall one of 25 yards or less. On 1st and 10, Dick with all kinds of time loads up and launches one deep and has a man wide open at the 25 and into the end zone for a touchdown as Jarius Wright, the freshman out of Warren, Arkansas, his first career touchdown. And there must have been some breakdown in the coverage because he couldn't be more open than that.
Yeah, Chris Culliver was there with him, and then he lets him go. I don't know if he's expecting more help. You take a look at it here. Dick looking for him all the way. Culliver, who's got probably the best speed back there, just lets him run right past him. That's the longest play the Gamecocks have given up all season.
70 yards on the score, and all of a sudden Arkansas has woken up offensively with one play. Well, before that play, they couldn't get anything going. just 6 total yards, and then they get 70 on one play.
And obviously a blown coverage there, a blown assignment. You haven't seen that too often by South Carolina, but Casey Dick, he's up and down, and he can make you pay, though.
Substitution infraction, defense, 12 players in the formation. They decline that penalty, try.
So the extra point will take place after the penalty is declined. Think about what just happened the last 2 plays. The Gamecocks with a sure field goal. Ryan Suckup doesn't miss 25-yarders except just a few moments ago, and then Arkansas had a 170-yard hookup, a touchdown. And just like that, we got ourselves a ball game. It's now 10-7, Carolina on top. Let's take another look at this last play and see if we can figure out exactly what happened to Chris Culver.
Yeah, he's the free safety, so he's not going to get much extra help back there. And again, Culver with the best speed, but he just loses him. He was running side by side with him and just slowed down a little bit. Don't know if he was expecting the pass to go somewhere else. It didn't look like Casey Dick looked him off at all, and he delivers a strike, and he's got him beat by 7 or 8 yards, and that's just no contest.
Like you said, he didn't look him off. There was no pump fake, and there's nobody coming in the middle of the field, so I'm not sure exactly what Chris Culver was thinking on that one, but that made for an easy touchdown for Casey Dick.
Well, last year Arkansas had the big plays in the running game, and so far today the big play with the passing game.
Michael Phelps, gold medalist swimmer, that's him right there on the sideline in town. We actually hope to speak to Michael at the half, but getting a terrific ovation, and he deserves just about every bit of it. What a show he put on. Brad, how many gold medals have you won?
Not near as many as that are in Columbia right now. Actually, you've got 8 there on the sideline with Phelps, and of course women's basketball coach at South Carolina, Dawn Staley, has won 3 medals, although 4 technically. She was an assistant coach this year for Team USA, and she was a player that earned 3 Olympic gold. So a lot of gold medals here in town in Columbia.
It's weird seeing him with a shirt and a hat on. Every time you see Michael Phelps, he's got water dripping all over the place, and he's usually got some gold medals around his neck.
I feel like we should cut away to his mom somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Or at least get him a pool on the sideline so we can let him feel at home. Back to the live action. Carolina leading at 10-7 here in the first half. It's going to be Munnerlyn on a kickoff return. Munnerlyn across the 20 and steamrolled at the 21, shoved out of bounds. They'll give him forward progress. Freddie Burton, another special teams tackle, a 19-yard return. Scoring drive for Arkansas didn't take long. 2 plays, 80 yards, 70-yard touchdown reception by Jarius Wright, the freshman.
Again, this gives so much momentum to Arkansas because, again, South Carolina's offense really hasn't been able to sustain drives. That last time they finally got the ball down the field and missed a chip shot field goal. Now the Arkansas defense possibly with a little life in them.
Well, what we just saw, too, is kind of a harbinger of things to come for what Arkansas hopes to do on offense under Bobby Petrino. It's going to be a lot different than what you saw for many, many years under Houston Nutt. It was more of a grinded out 40, 50 rushes a game. Bobby Petrino is a guy that made his mark at Louisville, throwing the football and getting a lot of big plays, and you'll see a lot more of that as Eric Baker is tripped up, looked like by his own 2 feet, for no gain on the play.
Bobby Petrino's offense was a lot of fun to watch at Louisville. He was 41-9 there.
Garcia back in. Fakes the rollout right. Instead, it's Baker on the left, and Eric Baker plowing ahead to the 30-yard line. That's a gain of 9.
Baker did a good job of setting up some blocks on that play as the Gamecocks pulled a couple of linemen towards the bottom of your screen, and he was able to set them up and pick up a nice gain. That's something that's been lacking from the South Carolina offense much of the season.
Now back to Smelly. 3rd down and a yard. And there's what Chris Smelley does better than any of the quarterbacks. He's not the fastest, but he has mastered the art of the quarterback sneak, a gain of 4 yards, and that'll move the chains.
And you keep going back to what ifs. You remember, of course, the missed field goal by South Carolina, but also the play where they had the fullback DeMarco wide open in the end zone and Smelley unable to find him. And instead of going up possibly 17-0, you've got a ball game here, but the Gamecocks moving the sticks.
Again, if you joined us late, Steve Spurrier rotating quarterbacks on virtually every play. Here's that wacky formation again. Pass incomplete, broken up, intended for Jason Barnes. So they really need to get going again in this offense. Jason Barnes had 2 terrific games against Ole Miss and Kentucky, and since then he's basically been a non-factor. He had 3 catches against LSU, but nothing much since.
Yeah, take a look at it here. They're trying to run different looks out of that formation. It worked on the very first play of the game, but since then, other than the slant to the tight end Wesley Saunders, they've really been unable to get anything out of that formation.
Mike Davis, the back to the right of Smelley. 2nd and 10. It's Jared Cook in stride. And Cook will put on the afterburners. Look out. 15, 10, 5, touchdown.
What a play by Jared Cook, and he sprung from the block by Jason Barnes. Well, I guess the Gamecocks got the momentum back on that play.
66 yards. Smelley to Jared Cook.
Take a look at it here. Watch the block coming upfield here by Barnes. There it is right there. That brings him down the sideline. And Jared Cook, the tight end, has wide receiver speed. And it's just a foot race to the end zone. He's going to win it.
Longest reception of the year for Jared Cook. His previous long was 63 yards. Succop to tack on the extra point. He does. So both offenses getting small plays here and there before 2 big ones on consecutive drives. A 70-yard touchdown reception for Arkansas, a 66-yard touchdown reception by Jared Cook of Carolina.
One last look from Smelley, just dumps it off, and why not get it to the fastest guy on the field? Beats the linebacker. He's going to do that every time, and there's the great block again from Barnes. And then Jared Cook is off to the races for his 2nd touchdown of the year. Here's the block once again, just enough, and no extra help.
You know, statistically, all completions look alike, but Chris Smelley put that ball so that Cook could catch it in stride and utilize that speed. Cook's 2nd touchdown reception of the year, but that's the difference. You throw that a little bit behind him, he might still make the catch, but it's a 10-yard gain. You throw it to him in stride, and it's 66 yards as he takes it to the house.
And it's got to feel good for a guy like Chris Smelley, who's been in and out of the lineup this year. He's taken a beating a little bit by some fans because his lack of mobility. He comes up, helps contribute to the big play there.
Chris Smelley now 8 of 14, 125 yards and a touchdown. So he has had the better day under center thus far of the 2 quarterbacks. Well, we thought the whole term quarterback controversy, we thought maybe we could just get rid of that, put it on the shelf.
No chance.
Don't think so. Succop has been crushing the kickoffs. Here's another one, this time to the north end zone. And again, Arkansas will take a knee.
Arkansas will have a 1st and 10.
Dennis Johnson wisely not returning that one. Razorbacks will take over from the 20. 5-play scoring drive, 79 yards in total. Less than 2 minutes off the clock, and Jared Cook with a 66-yard touchdown reception from Chris Smelley. It's also the longest pass of the year for Smelley. Ryan Succop, incidentally, 4 kickoffs, 0 returns for Arkansas.
Yeah, he's doubled his touchbacks from last season.
1st and 10 for Casey Dick and company. Dick settles in the pocket, throws a little crossing route, complete to Joe Adams. This is a freshman they really like here. Joe Adams out of Little Rock, Arkansas, came in with 28 catches. He was a highly recruited wide receiver and cornerback out of high school, rated by Rivals as the number 8 defensive back in the nation.
Nothing fancy there. Pretty good coverage by Carlos Thomas, but Dick puts it right on the mark. As I said, he's been up and down, but when he's on a roll, when he's hot, he's dangerous.
7 yards there. Now back to the ground, and Davis, or Smith rather, and Smith is brought down by Cliff Matthews. That'll be a loss on the play.
I mentioned Casey Dick. He's very familiar with these Gamecocks, making his 4th start, and he's had pretty good numbers throughout his career against South Carolina. You take a look at the handoff there as the Gamecock defense just does a good job of stringing it out. Michael Smith hasn't been able to really get free too often today. But Casey Dick now in his 4th game, 3 games prior against the Gamecocks, 31 out of 53, 451 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks.
3rd down and 5, the marker's at the 30. Dick has plenty of time and finds an open man over the middle. And that'll be a 1st down. Looked like the tight end, Andrew Davey. He's a load, 6'5", 266-pound junior out of Little Rock.
Yeah, they don't go to Davey very often. I believe it's his 6th catch of the year. Talking about all the different receivers Arkansas has or have used this year, and they use a lot of young ones, a lot of freshmen in there, but Davey, one of the more experienced, even though he doesn't catch the ball a lot, the junior, has a couple of touchdown receptions on the year.
9-yard pickup moves the chains for the Razorbacks. Under 6 minutes remaining in the 1st half. Clocks up by 10. Smith escapes one tackler, pushes forward for a gain of about 5 before Eric Norwood bottles him up.
And Michael Smith, a little slow getting up. He's on his feet now, but that's somebody the Razorbacks can ill afford to lose. Obviously, as we said, the SEC's leading rusher, averaging 5 yards per carry. But after that, they don't have anybody who's had more than 25 carries coming in. They're not very deep at tailback, or at least haven't used a lot of different tailbacks this year.
2nd and 5. Here comes the blitz. Dick throws it. It's tapped up in the air and caught by Arkansas. Cliff Matthews deflected it, and Dennis Johnson brought it in. The freshman tailback. He's another small one at 5'7". Looked like Nathan Pepper almost had another big play here.
We'll take a look at batted at the line of scrimmage and just hangs up there forever. And Razorbacks come down. If you mentioned Nathan Pepper, he's made a career out of those kind of plays. Has 2 defensive touchdowns in his career, 1 on an interception, 1 on a fumble return.
Nathan was trying to reach deep with him for that vertical leap. It never came out. 3rd down and 4. Again, a blitz by Carolina as Dick rolls out left and finds a wide open target near the sideline. That is Lucas Miller. And Culliver, hard to blame him on that one as the Gamecocks brought the house. Usually when that happens, somebody's going to be open. 19 yards on the connection.
Well, this time the Razorbacks guess right as the Gamecocks bring the pressure with a designed rollout, takes away some of that pressure, frees Casey Dick up for a couple of more seconds that allows the receiver to get open. And as you mentioned, Culliver probably not his man, but he was the closest one.
1st and 10. Johnson stays in the game. Michael Smith banged up a couple of plays ago, and now a penalty flag here.
Red ball, false start, 45. Offense, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Brad, I hope that before I move on from this planet, that we can actually call an entire game without a false start penalty.
Well, especially at this late in the season, you just don't expect it. You see it you expect to see it maybe the first couple of games here or there, or maybe if you have a new quarterback, but you've got a 4-year quarterback in there and pretty experienced offensive line that is deep into the season.
1st and 15. Dick, quick drop, and throws wide of the mark intended for Joe Adams.
And Adams did well not to catch that ball. He probably would have lost a yard or 2, or maybe no gain on the play. Captain Munderland right there on the coverage. But to Arkansas, prior to that penalty, looked like they're finding a little bit of rhythm on offense. Obviously, they had the big play on the previous possession on the 70-yard touchdown reception to Jarius Wright, but they've been moving the ball a little bit better since then.
2nd and 15. Dick will stay in the shotgun. Under hot pursuit, and he is wrapped up and brought down. Who else? Eric Norwood, who has been on fire the last month.
Yeah, his 5th sack of the year, already leads the team in sacks and tackles for loss, the career leader in tackles for loss. Look, Dick steps up in the pocket because he sees Matthews coming, and Norwood comes from behind to take him down. Good pressure on both sides by the Carolina defense. Take a look again. That was Sapp also coming from the near side. That's what Dick was trying to step up and avoid, but never saw Norwood coming from behind.
Eric Norwood now 2nd all-time in sacks in school history. He's got 16 of them. Here's 3rd and 20. The dump-off pass, that won't get it done. All that does is give you a little bit better field position. Dennis Johnson with the grab. Auguste with the tackle, 8 yards, but the Razorbacks, in all likelihood, will punt it away.
Big stop there by the South Carolina defense again after Arkansas seemed to be moving the ball pretty well in that drive. The false start penalty backed them up, and they weren't able to recover. And Ellis Johnson again dials up a couple of blitzes. The defense comes through.
Jeremy Davis out to punt. Munnerlyn at the 10. This one go, and it'll bounce into the end zone. Touchback. Gamecocks will take over at the 20 with a little more than 2 minutes left to play in the first half. Alongside Brad Muller, Mike Morgan with you here from Williams-Brice Stadium. Gamecocks dominating this game early on, and a key turnover, a missed field goal by Ryan Suckup. Arkansas getting a key play, a 70-yard touchdown pass from Casey Dick to Jarius Wright. Gamecocks responding with a big play of their own through the air. A Jared Cook 66-yard touchdown reception, and so that's where we are. 10-point ball game. Steve Spurrier electing to rotate quarterbacks on a play-by-play basis. It's Chris Smelley right here. Smelley with the draw. It's Mike Davis. Davis looked like a sniper got him, Brad. He had a couple of yards, looked like he was moving, and then bam, he just went down quickly.
Yeah, I was trying to see where the white jersey came from that tripped him up initially. And again, it's the inability to make the first guy miss. Got a couple of yards on the play, but see if South Carolina's content to run out the half and go into the locker room with a 10-point lead. Remember, the Gamecocks would get the ball to start the second half.
Be a little surprised they're not being more aggressive here?
Not really, just where they are deep in their own end. Maybe if they had better field position, but you know, Steve Spurrier, he runs on that play, makes you think that way. He may take a shot deep right here.
Carolina does have a timeout remaining. Garcia back in the game. And again, going to the ground. And not much there on the left side for Mike Davis, giving a yard. Malcolm Shepard on the tackle.
And Arkansas had burned a couple of timeouts, I believe, early, so they would only be able to stop the clock once here. The Gamecocks seem to content to try to run it out. We'll see if Arkansas calls timeout if the Gamecocks don't pick up the first here.
Yeah, it's a passing situation. 3rd down and 6. Smelly is back in. And as you mentioned, the Gamecocks will get it first in the second half. Trips to the left. That's the bottom of your screen. Smelly. On the long page with Jason Barnes. Jason Barnes stayed. Chris Smelly went down the sideline and threw that ball to an empty spot.
And Steve Spurrier didn't throw his visor, but he took it off after that play. Obviously, as you said, not on the same page. Not sure who's to blame, but somebody's going to get an earful as they come to the sideline.
So the Gamecocks will punt it away. Now 27 seconds left. The Razorbacks do have a timeout left. If you get a good return here, well, that could make things interesting.
Remember, the Razorbacks had a kick return for a touchdown last week against Tulsa. That was the difference in the game in the second half.
Lanning gets off a solid effort here. That's Wright with a fair catch at the 40. It takes off a few seconds. Arkansas, if they want to be aggressive here, try to get into field goal range. The kicker for the Razorbacks, Shea Haddock, who we haven't seen yet, he does have a long of 44 on the year.
Yeah, they'll actually use 2 kickers. Haddock is the longer field goal kicker. Sometimes Tejada will kick, but he has a long only of 30.
20 seconds exactly left to play here in the first half. Gamecocks 8 back in coverage. Dick has all day. Loads it up, fires, and incomplete. Trying to hit Lucas Miller.
Good coverage downfield. The Gamecocks not bringing the house that time. Dick had plenty of time to throw the football. As we saw before, he's definitely got an arm on him. He can be dangerous if you do give him time. But with the Gamecocks playing 3 deep, I don't think you're going to see someone get behind the defenders like they did on that 70-yarder.
Dick in his senior campaign out of Allen, Texas, feels like he's been throwing passes for Arkansas for about 12 years now. Gets out of trouble, looks downfield, and now will run it himself. That will stop the clock. 7-yard gain.
Now just sets up a Hail Mary, see how far he can throw it with 4 seconds on the clock.
Well, Dick's got the arm, and Arkansas's got some tall receivers to jump up here. Lucas Miller is 6'3". Greg Childs is 6'4". Three receivers to the left. Dick buys time, throws it from behind the 40. This will be well short. And intercepted by Stoney Woodson. And that'll be his 8th career interception. That leads the team. 17-7. Our halftime score. Gamecocks on top. And again, Carolina will get it first in the second half. Lots to come on our halftime show. Stick around. More Carolina and Arkansas football here from Columbia on Sports South.
Please get out your Verizon phone now and text the message to be displayed on the video board. The text number is 71855. That's 71855 to text your message. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to Williams-Brice Stadium and homecoming 2008. The 2008 Homecoming Committee would like to thank all those who have supported and helped with this week's event. Now please direct your attention to the 50-yard line. After a rigorous selection process and a final display of talents and stage presence as showcased on Tuesday night, we are pleased to announce this year's Homecoming Horse. Your 2008 Homecoming team is...
Fond memories of attending ball games, tailgating, and making lifetime friends are just some of the reasons recent University of South Carolina grad Joey Bowers says he'll keep returning for homecoming weekend at his alma mater.
Some of the best times of my life was out there on that football field at Williams-Brice Stadium. So I've enjoyed it so much, and it's just great to still be involved with the university.
Bowers hopes that goodwill spreads among his fellow young alumni, and he's already got a partner in Emily Leapart. Leapart graduated in 2003. They didn't know each other back then, but now they have a lot in common. Look closely at their faces. They're the face of y'all. Or to be clear, the face of young alumni leaving a legacy. Both were chosen by more than 1,000 young alumni who voted online to have them lead the charge to get other young alumni engaged in giving back to their alma mater.
The university is something that is really close to me and my heart. I had a great time while I was here, and so anything that I can do to promote the university and to stay involved with the university, I'm all for it.
Ditto for Bowers, who says he's thrilled to represent the more than 33,000 young alumni who graduated within the past 10 years.
And I hope I can, help get other young alumni motivated, because our university is a great place, and we come back every Saturday in the fall, and hang out, and so just to kind of keep us connected and keep developing the university and our young alumni program.
Bowers and Leapart's faces will be featured in mail pieces and different types of communications going out to young alumni. Director of Annual Giving, Lola Maurer, says the Face of Y'all campaign is a way for the university to be a trendsetter.
It's been a way for us to go after some of our most core alumni because the graduates of the last decade do represent such a major constituency for the university and often are the most difficult to engage and educate about philanthropy.
And if you've got dreams of being the next fresh face of y'all, stay tuned. A new campaign is coming in spring 2009. From the University of South Carolina, I'm Frenchie Brewer.
Homecoming 2008.
Countdown. Welcome back to Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina, leading Arkansas 17-7. At the break, halftime, Brad Muller joined by Raymond Harrison. He's the Director of Academic and Life Skills for the University of South Carolina Athletic Department. And welcome aboard. First of all, tell us a little bit about what you guys do in your office and the impact you have on the student athletes.
There are a number of things that we do for student athletes. I don't know how much time I have to talk to you right now, but basically what we do is we monitor their academic progress. We make sure that they're taking courses that count towards a degree, because as you know, the most important thing for these student athletes is to leave here with a degree. A number of services we offer to them. We make sure they go to class. We monitor and coordinate study hall programs for each individual student athlete. We also have life skills development where we prepare them for life after college. As you know, sports only last so long, and we just want to make sure that when they leave here that we haven't done them a disservice, that we give them an opportunity to be prepared for life after college.
Now you've got a lot of student athletes to keep up with every year. Talk a little bit about that, the makeup of your staff and how many people you've got working with you and the kind of folks you're looking for to help you out.
Sure. Right now we have about 10 full-time staff members underneath the guidance of myself, and we have 7 advisors, and then we have 3 learning specialists. And if I can briefly tell you what learning specialists do, they work with our student athletes who have special academic needs, and they work very closely with them just to learn, make sure they understand their learning styles and can make sure that they build a curriculum that will allow them to work properly. Our staff is very diverse. We have a couple of people from different walks of life, but we all share the common goal of we want to empower our student athletes. We don't want to enable them. We want them to be productive citizens after they leave the university.
Of course, big construction, the Doty Academic Enrichment Center. I know that's going to have a big impact on you. Talk a little bit about that and what that means to you and what you guys will be doing.
Yeah, I got a big smile on my face about that. It's a big time facility for us. It's going to help us tremendously. The way things are working for us right now, we have student athletes in kind of 3 different facilities. And what this production will allow us to do is bring everybody in one place and allow us just to develop programs that will be a lot more beneficial for our student athletes. We'll have a full-service cafeteria. We'll have 15 seminar rooms. We'll have 20 tutoring rooms, 3 computer labs. I mean, it'll be state-of-the-art. And I'd like to thank Eric Hyman for, making this a priority in his master plan. And it kind of goes to show you the development of the program, but also the initiatives that he's put forth. It shows you what's important to him.
You mentioned Eric Hyman, the athletic director. Talk briefly about the relationship you have with the coaches, because obviously you have to be very involved with them.
I guess I can kind of go back to what I just said. Under the leadership of Eric Hyman, he makes it known to not only the student athletes but also to the coaches that academics and student development is number 1 priority. And we have a great group of coaches to work with. They're very supportive. And we also have an attendance policy that we've implemented. We just want to make sure that we're sending the same message across the board that academics is important, that they are here, number 1, to go to school. This is not professional athletics. And I think that for the most part, we've gotten that message across.
All right, Raymond Harrison, thank you for joining us. Raymond Harrison of the Academic Services for the University of South Carolina Athletics. Gamecocks leading the Razorbacks at the break 17-7. You're watching the Gamecocks and Razorbacks here on Sports South.
Written in 1936 and made popular by Lee Goodman and his drummer Gene Cooper. Our next selection will be instantly recognizable. The tones will be counted non-stop as the Carolina Band features our wonderful Coquettes in a classic hit. Sing, sing, sing.
Arkansas Razorbacks by a score of 17-7 at the half as we get you set for the second half of action in a few moments. But first, we are now joined by the South Carolina Director of Marketing, Eric Nichols. Eric, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. The Gamecocks are ahead, so I'm okay.
Life is good thus far, no question about it. I think a lot of people out there would be curious just what exactly does the Director of Marketing do? For a long time, we didn't have a Director of Marketing at South Carolina. That's changed recently. Just give us an idea of what some of your responsibilities are.
Sure. One of the daily responsibilities is working with ISP, our multimedia rights holder, working on game entertainment to make these games as fun as we can make them, both basketball, baseball, football, and then overall branding is making sure that we articulate the South Carolina brand as well as possible.
I noticed already, the last couple of years, the presentation has been different for football and for basketball. Very meticulous, a lot of attention to detail. Just talk about some of the things that go into that.
Well, sure. I don't want to show you my notes because it would be chicken scratch of errors, but as long as you think we're doing better than that, that's fantastic. We're putting a lot of effort towards the presentation, and I think it's showing up in the fans' response.
You came to Columbia from Vanderbilt, spent a number of years there. What are some of the ideas maybe you brought from Vanderbilt and Nashville, and ideas you think can work here in Columbia?
You know, what I'm figuring out now is there's not a lot of overlap between Vanderbilt and South Carolina. They're two very different markets, very different fan bases, much larger fan bases here at South Carolina. But group sales, trying to reach out all across the state of South Carolina to get groups to enjoy mainly basketball games. And I think that's how we're going to continue to build the basketball fan base.
How much feedback do you get from the fans? How important is it to get some ideas from the fans in terms of what they would like to see?
Well, the Director of Marketing, you don't have any shortage of ideas from fans, but that's how we get better. But watching the fan is how we get better too. What do they respond to? It's not the same for everyone. It's not the same across sports. We really try to pay attention to what motivates them and gets the fans, especially the students, going.
This, of course, is the last home game for football, but the start of basketball season is right around the corner. Had the exhibition game last night. Season opener will be next Friday. What are some of the things you're working on specifically for basketball?
Well, with basketball, again, changing the presentation, a lot more house music. The students say they want it. The students are responding. The students will make the energy that will give us the home court advantage. We have a lot of NBA halftime acts coming in, 4 or 5 coming in this year. Got a couple still pending, but it's going to be a great show, and it's going to be a great team to watch, fun up and down the court.
And heading to the third and final sport, how about baseball? Brand new stadium. I would imagine you've got a number of ideas you can implement with the new ballpark.
I'm just trying to get a ticket so I can watch this team play. It's going to be fantastic in that new facility, but we got a lot of good ideas. We got a brand new video board that we're going to have a lot of fun with.
Eric, certainly appreciate the time. Again, welcome to Columbia. Look forward to seeing you down the road.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Director of Marketing, Eric Nichols, joining us here on the halftime program. We'll take a time out here. We'll come back with more, including the second half of action here from Williams-Brice Stadium in just a moment.
Royce Reynolds, Dominique Slover, Lana Taylor, Stephanie Goldfein, Blake Edmonds. We're listening to another round of applause for these members of the Gamecock Band. Hey, Gamecock football fans, as you know, it's also flu season. And every October, I get a flu shot. We strongly encourage and provide flu shots for our entire team. So let's get our flu shots this year. Go Gamecocks.
Introducing Big Red. The first 2 passes are side-by-side, good enough to be online and good enough to be used by your Gamecock football staff. Powered by a 675cc fuel-injected engine, it delivers huge torque for rugged terrain. And Big Red offers way more than any other side-by-side out there. Mid-engine design, bucket-style seats, easy-gripping cargo bed, and even comfort. After all, it's a Honda, and there's only one place in the Midwest you can see. That's Carolina on 901 Buffalo Road.
17-7 our halftime score. The Gamecocks leading it at the half here in Columbia, Williams-Brice Stadium. Couple of big plays through the air as we see this one from Casey Dick and Arkansas. And on the very next drive, after the touchdown by Wright, it would be Chris Smelly, one of 2 quarterbacks we've seen today for the Gamecocks, finding Jared Cook, hitting him in stride, and Jared Cook winning the foot race down the sideline. And Brad, that's how we got to this point. Overall, defense pretty much dominating this first half, particularly for Carolina, but the Razorbacks hanging tough.
Oh, exactly. You don't expect big plays like that out of either one of these offenses. It's actually what both coaches have been looking for all season long. So I'm sure that offensive-wise, they're happy about what's happening with the big plays, something they've been missing. Defensively, obviously, a couple of lapses. You haven't seen any plays like that against South Carolina all season long. Ellis Johnson obviously not happy about the blown coverage, but against South Carolina has to feel good about the ability to move the football a little bit. They missed a field goal, which should have been a chip shot. They missed an opportunity at another touchdown, missing a wide-open receiver, but still leading on the scoreboard and a lot of the stats as well.
As we take a look at the first half statistics, again, Gamecocks with the edge in total yards, nearly 100 more than Arkansas. And how about that number for rushing yardage for the Razorbacks? I don't think any of us saw that coming, -1.
Exactly. You've got the leading rusher in the Southeastern Conference in Michael Smith, and he has been unable to get on track. But the Gamecock defense has pursued to the ball well all season long. They've really not given him any big plays. He had one play where he ran for a first down, but that's about it, putting more pressure on Casey Dick.
I guess the other question now, Brad, becomes, will Steve Spurrier stay with the two-quarterback system? Clearly, Chris Smelley had the better first half of the two. What will the old ball coach do?
Well, it'll be interesting. Yeah, Stephen Garcia did not play well in the first half. Of course, the big play there by Chris Smelley, but neither was consistently sharp. You saw some missed opportunities. We talked about the potential missed touchdown pass to Patrick DeMarco in the corner of the end zone. The Smelley didn't see him. They missed a field goal there. So I have a feeling you're still going to see both quarterbacks in the second half. And if either one can get into rhythm, then maybe you'll see them the rest of the way.
Gamecocks trying to make it 5 wins in their last 6 games. We'll see if Carolina and company can do it when we return with the second half.
Gamecocks getting it first here in the second half. Culver, who's had a great year returning kickoffs, fields it at the 6. Oh, he's got a lot of room. He can turn the corner. 25, 30, 35, 40, and pushed out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Chris Culver, give him credit, but also give the blocking credit. 40 yards, and Brad, we could see from here that play developing. They had a great seal on the near sideline.
Yeah, Akeem Auguste got a good block on the end that helped free up Culver for a little extra yardage. You take a look at it here as Culver's trying to set up his blocks. He's got that great speed, and the block here by Auguste helps free him up down the sideline. The Gamecocks right near midfield to start the second half.
So great field position, and it will be Chris Smelley coming out to at least start off this second half. Trips to the right-hand side. That's the top of your screen. Smelley surveys, fires over the middle. That's McKinley, 45, and down at the 31-yard line. Kenny McKinley, who already broke the school record for yardage career, breaking Sterling Sharp's record, and that should put him over 100 yards receiving for the afternoon.
And I like what Smelley does here, looking for McKinley down the field. He had his tailback Mike Davis wide open about 5 yards in front of him, but he didn't settle for the dump off. He looked downfield. His first check off was McKinley, and he found him over the middle.
23 yards on that play. McKinley now 5 grabs, 105 yards. Mike Davis tries the left side, and he is brought down after a gain of about a yard.
Tell you how hard it's been for Mike Davis the last few ball games. The last 4 games, he's averaging under 3 yards per carry. But coming into today, 69 carries, 185 yards in the last 4 games. For the season, just 3.5 yards per carry.
Now back to Garcia, and again, The Emery and Henry lineup here with just 3 offensive linemen in the game. Arkansas rushing 4. Garcia throws to McKinley. McKinley finds an alley and takes it all the way to the 20 for another first down. Steve Spurrier has gone with that play in the past, maybe once or twice in a game. That's about a handful of times that he's tried it today. 9 yards for Kenny McKinley here.
And take a look at the good strong throw there. Looked like one of the Razorback defenders trying to jump the route there, possibly to intercept it, because if you pick that off, you're going the other way for 6. And McKinley with a lot of yards after the catch. Good blocking by the other 2 guys out there as well.
That was actually the center, Garrett Anderson, lined up on the right side. Paved the way for Kenny McKinley to get those 9 yards. Smelly under hot pursuit and does a nice job of just getting it away, not taking the sack. That's what Steve Spurrier has been preaching this year to both quarterbacks. Don't take sacks unless you have to.
And that's some experience there by Chris Smelly. Again, he's been in and out of the lineup here. He feels the pressure coming. And again, yeah, live to play another day, able to get enough on it to get it out of bounds. That the hit could have hung that ball up there and possibly they picked off. He's able to get enough of it and get it out of bounds.
So 2nd down and 10. Back to Garcia with Davis behind him and a staggered eye look. It's Garcia looking to throw. Pressure from the backside, and the pass is incomplete. Garcia was about 1 second away from having that ball knocked out for a fumble.
Yeah, Coach Steve Spurrier earlier in the week during one of his local call-in shows, when he announced that he was going to be playing 2 quarterbacks, I guess in response to some folks saying, gosh, will it be difficult for a quarterback to get into a rhythm? And he said, no, they should just be able to go out there and play. Well, Chris Smelly has done a better job of getting into a rhythm. It seems to have affected Stephen Garcia, as he's missed some open receivers here today.
The 100-yard receiving effort by Kenny McKinley is his first of the year. And the first one since Mo Brown went for a $130 against Georgia. Smelly delivering over the middle. That should have been intercepted. It was intended for the tight end, Jared Cook, but Rashad Johnson read that baby all the way.
Yeah, almost put the whammy on him. And again, if you're missing Jared Cook, you're missing well, because he's 6'5", and Smelly eyeballing him all the way. Had a step on the defender, although 2 defenders there would have been hit hard, but that one almost picked off. Now another field goal attempt for Ryan Suckup, who's hit long but missed short today.
Steve Spurrier not happy with that effort. 37-yard attempt by Ryan Suckup. Again, it's on the right-hand hash mark. Kick is on the way, and that one's perfect. Ryan Suckup 2 of 3 today. The only miss was a chip shot from 25. Gamecocks stretch the lead, 20-7 our score. First time he does not reach the end zone. Fielded at the 6 by Dennis Johnson. Dennis Johnson, big alley up the middle across the 35 and down to the 37-yard line. So the Razorbacks, for one of the rare times today, will have good field position. Scoring drive for Carolina, 7 plays, 34 yards, 2 minutes and 6 seconds. The drive stalling, and Carolina settling for a Ryan Succop 37-yard field goal. And the Gamecocks now up 20-7. 22-yard return for Arkansas gives the Razorbacks pretty good field position for this drive. Toss sweep to the left side and some good room down the sideline for Dennis Johnson, the freshman out of Texarkana. 5 yards on the pickup. Actually, that's a pretty good spot. Give him 6.
Haven't seen much of Dennis Johnson in the first half. Remember, Michael Smith came up a little bit slow on one of the last plays of the first half when Arkansas was on offense, and I don't think we've seen him since. I don't know if he's banged up, but Dennis Johnson in there for the first time.
I have to believe he's still nursing something. He came off the field, hobbled in the second quarter, and we haven't seen him since. Ajiboye getting some good pursuit with a nice pass to DJ Williams, one of the tight ends. They kind of use him a lot like Carolina uses Jared Cook. They'll flex him out, almost use him as a wide receiver quite a bit. He's a load at 6'2", 250. SEC all-freshman team a year ago.
Yeah, he's a good one. He was actually coming into today. He was tied for the SEC lead in receptions per game. Leads the Razorbacks in receptions and receiving yards. He's coming into today tied with A.J. Green of Georgia in receptions.
3rd down and a yard. Is Williams, and now the officials racing in. A timeout called by Arkansas.
That is their first charge timeout of this half.
11:36 to play, 20-7 our score. With Brad Muller, I'm Mike Morgan. Thanks for joining us here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. If you're watching at home, we only hope the climate-controlled room that you're in is half as nice as it is here in Columbia, South Carolina. Nothing but blue skies and sunshine. Temperatures around 70 degrees, and the Gamecocks hoping for a victory in the home finale, homecoming. 25 seniors honored at the beginning of this game, but so far it's been a show put on by the underclassmen. Chris Smelly with a big game, rotating with Stephen Garcia. Kenny McKinley, one of those seniors, with a terrific day thus far. He's got 105 receiving yards, and earlier today became the all-time yardage leader, surpassing Sterling Sharp. And you know, Brad, Kenny McKinley is a young man that is such a likable guy for 2 reasons. Number one, he obviously is a very good player, but you know, number 2, you watch his body English. He's always the perfect teammate. He supports whatever quarterback is out there, and he has played with several guys that have lost their job under his watch. He's the kind of guy that plays the game hard but plays it clean. There's not much not to like about Kenny McKinley.
And he says and does a lot of the right things. When he makes a big play, he acts like he's done it before. He's not the biggest, he's not the fastest. He just catches footballs and can take a big hit, and he's done that consistently over his career. He's having a great senior season. But remember, he missed 3.5 games with the hamstring injury, and he's still the second leading receiver for the Gamecocks this season. So a very productive season in spite of missing a lot of playing time.
And I really think Kenny McKinley, even though he's not going to dazzle anybody at a combine, I think Kenny McKinley can play the game of football in the NFL. I'd be very curious to see the opportunity he gets, but he's a terrific route runner, good hands, again, a tough guy. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Hines Ward in that respect, but Kenny McKinley is going to be a good one at the next level. .11:36 on the clock here in the 3rd quarter of play. 3rd down and a yard. Extra tight ends in for Arkansas. They go to the weak side, and a lot of room there for 33 Dennis Johnson, who's tripped up and cut down by Auguste, but not before the first down. Pickup of a couple, and the Razorbacks drive will continue. A lot of fresh faces on this Arkansas team. Look at all those freshmen, 16 of them. You know, you've seen Florida State and Miami struggle this year with all the freshmen they have, and certainly Arkansas doing the same. Alabama's a little bit of a different story because they've got some key veterans at key spots, like quarterback with John Parker Wilson. Dick has all kinds of time. Now will run it and will be cut down by Auguste after a gain of a yard. I was surprised, Brad, that Dick gave up on that play. He could have kept looking downfield, trying to make a throw.
Yeah, the Gamecocks only rushed 3. One of the few times they didn't come with some kind of blitz package. He had all kinds of time, but again, great coverage downfield by the secondary. They just weren't giving him anything. And then when he rolled down to the near side, obviously it takes away half the field.
So second and long now. Man in motion is Jarius Wright. He caught the touchdown earlier. He's matched up on Captain Munnerlyn. Pass is complete at the 45, and nice job by Auguste to get just enough of DJ Williams. Otherwise, Williams would have been a runaway freight train. He would have easily had the first down, 7 yards, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, exactly. DJ Williams has 70 pounds on Akeem Auguste. That's a bit of a mismatch in terms of trying to go one-on-one, but Auguste gets just enough of him to take him down and prevent the first down.
So here we go again, another third down and short, 3rd and 1. Incidentally, Michael Smith, their star tailback, standing on the sideline with his helmet off. He might not return. They give it to one of the backup running backs. That's Brandon Barnett, a junior out of Texarkana. And once again, the Razorbacks are able to convert on 3rd and short, 4 yards there.
Only the 3rd carry of the season for Brandon Barnett. So Gamecocks seeing something they hadn't seen all season long, or at least on tape, with Dennis Johnson and Brandon Barnett with Michael Smith out of the game. But a good-looking drive here by the Razorbacks. They're only down a couple of scores. And, of course, South Carolina has driven down the field several times, but have had to settle for a bunch of field goal attempts. Otherwise, this game could have been blown open.
There is Michael Smith, and he looks like he wants to get back in there. I don't know if he is. Eric Norwood coming on the blitz. So too is Brinkley. Dick going to try to throw it away, and he did the wise thing. He got out of the tackle box. That's a legal play as long as you get that ball back to the line of scrimmage.
Looks like we're going to have a hold, though, on Arkansas. As I saw some black jersey getting pulled. Take a look at it here. Here's the pressure up the middle by Brinkley. Dick does a good job to escape the pressure, but a right-handed quarterback rolling to his left, there's no way he's going to be able to get that off.
Byron McKnight also getting some pressure there, the redshirt freshman.
Holding number 71, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
That is Wade Grayson, second time he's been called for a penalty.
Remember, in the first half, Arkansas had a good-looking drive going that was halted after a false start penalty. See if the same thing happens here.
So that'll back them up. First down at 20 now. Empty backfield for Casey Dick. And now another timeout called, this time by Carolina.
Timeout, South Carolina. That is their first short timeout of this half.
Now that last penalty, or excuse me, that last timeout called because the Gamecocks were in danger of having just 10 men on the field, so a wise move there to call the timeout and get the right personnel on the field. It's a big drive, Brad. Arkansas has been a team that has done well offensively, but I wouldn't call them explosive. If they fail to convert any points here and Carolina's able to find the end zone, going to be very hard for Bobby Petrino's gang to get back in this game.
Exactly. They had the one big play earlier, but it's not what they're known for. But again, their defense, even though they've given up a couple of touchdowns, they've stopped a couple of Gamecock drives. Of course, Carolina's had to go for 3 field goal attempts. They've made 2 of them. And again, if the defense can at least cut that down for Arkansas, they've got a chance to stay in this ballgame. But yeah, this is a huge drive. They're only 2 scores behind because of the field goal attempts by South Carolina.
If you joined us late, the Gamecocks got off to a early 7-0 lead. A Stephen Garcia 14-yard touchdown run. And then the next drive, a 54-yard field goal by Ryan Suckup. That's the second longest of his career, made it 10-0. The Razorbacks would strike back with a 70-yard touchdown pass to Jarius Wright. Gamecocks would come right back with a 66-yard touchdown reception to Jared Cook. And then on the last drive for Carolina, a 37-yard field goal, the first drive of the second half. Field goal by Ryan Suckup, and that's how we've arrived at our score, 20-7, Carolina leading with 9:06 to play in the third quarter. We've seen both quarterbacks today, Stephen Garcia and Chris Smelley. Smelley has certainly had the better day thus far. He's 9 of 18, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He's thrown for 148 yards. Stephen Garcia, 2 of 9, 40 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 pick. The Gamecock run game has been, well, pretty much the way it's been all year long. Eric Baker, 5 carries for 22 yards. Mike Davis, 6 for 10. And those have been the only 2 tailbacks to tote the rock thus far. And again, Michael Smith for Arkansas, the headliner coming into this game. Well, he got banged up in the second quarter, and we have not seen him since. So first down and 20 for the Razorbacks. Dick out of the shotgun on a 3-wide set. He's got time. Again, he's going to tuck it and run, and not much doing with that. Akeem Auguste and Eric Norwood converging on that tackle. Picks up some yardage, 5 to be exact, but Brad, on a play like that, again, you've got all that time. Instead of using your legs to get some yards, use them to buy some time and find a guy downfield.
Yeah, exactly. But again, the coverage downfield has been good. Gamecocks were sending a lot of blitzes in the first half. They've kind of played it a little more straight up here in the second half, at least on this possession. DJ Williams thought he was going to be open for a moment after he broke away. Gamecocks picked him up, and Dick couldn't find anyone else to go to.
Norwood with 8 tackles today, and Auguste, who combined on that tackle, he's got 4 consecutive tackles as this ball is batted away. Penalty flag on the field. Eric Norwood once again in the backfield. Eric Norwood is playing at an all-SEC level here the last few weeks.
Yeah, the tackles for loss, the sacks, and just the pressure he brings on every play, whether it's supporting the run or in a pass rush. And again, they'll line him up all over the field. He played defensive end last year, technically listed as a linebacker this year, but he's all over the field.
Holding on the defense, number 21. 10-yard penalty, second down. The ball was tipped behind the line of scrimmage, and therefore it is not an automatic first down.
Now, very good clarification by our referee, Thomas Ritter, and a crucial penalty.
And take a look at the pressure here as Norwood trying to put some pressure on along with Cliff Matthews. There's the tip. Emmanuel Cook called for the penalty. I don't believe Cook was guarding the intended receiver anyway.
That is a big stipulation, though. It's not an automatic first down, so instead it's 2nd and 4. Barnett, the deep back, he gets it, and is upended at the 29.
Second surge there. They may give him a friendly spot. I don't know if his knee didn't go down when everybody else thought it did, but he hopped ahead to what could be close to a first down.
Yeah, the whistle didn't blow, and that's the key thing. He was upended, but like you said, I don't think the knee touched the ground, so he got an extra yard on that play, and that extra yard will make it very close to the first down. I still think he's short, but it would set up a very manageable third down for Arkansas, who has been very successful on 3rd and short in this second half.
Yeah, they've done a good job of moving the chains and keeping that defense on the field, something South Carolina's not accustomed to.
Yeah, they are indeed less than a foot short. Some more hard-hitting defense here by Carolina.
Oh, look at that. Knocked him back, but his knee's not down apparently, and he keeps driving forward. And that was close. That's taking a licking and coming back for more.
Yeah, you see Brinkley, he thought he was down. Brinkley in that shot, just kind of watching him get that extra yard. So 3rd down and inches here. And again, Michael Smith not in the game. It's Dennis Johnson behind Casey Dick. He gets it, spins, and I don't think so. Chris Culliver applying the pop. That hole closed in a hurry.
And that play just takes too long to develop on 3rd and inches. Surprised they didn't go possibly with a quarterback sneak or a quicker dive, but Dick hands this ball off 5 yards in the backfield. Little stutter step there, and with this penetrating defense by the Gamecocks, everybody stacked up at the line. Chris Culliver finishing things off there. They didn't have a chance.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brett. I don't get that at all. Why, when you need inches, you hand it off 5 yards behind the line, so they'll go for it on 4th and 2 now after the loss. Again, it's Johnson in the backfield. Man in motion is DJ Williams. They're going play action. Throw to the back, and that will be a 1st down. Actually, that's DJ Williams, the tight end. Takes a lot of black jerseys to bring him down.
He's still not down.
He's still not down. DJ Williams just worked on his squat exercises there.
Well, if you're a defensive back, you don't want anything to do with DJ Williams. Again, 6'2", 250 pounds. Well-designed play, but a risky call because it takes some time to develop. There's actually 2 receivers open. Goes the short route to Williams, the safer route. The big 250-pounder's not going down with just 1 man wrapped around him.
But he might have got his wallet stolen, but he still hasn't gone down. He was wrapped up by about 3 black jerseys. 1st and 10 from the 23. Dick has time, and the pass is dropped by Jarius Wright.
Arkansas using some misdirection the last few plays. Haven't seen much of that. They played it straight up most of the game so far and able to buy some extra time. Had a receiver open, unable to hold on to it. Take a look at it here. The misdirection there, the fake on the end around. Dick keeps looking downfield, had a man open, unable to hold on to it.
This is the 12th play of this drive.
Not too many teams get drives like this against this Gamecock defense.
2nd and 10. Already this drive has taken 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Play action. Dick all day. Little dump down pass. 15, and out near the marker is DeAnthony Curtis, freshman out of Camden, Arkansas. Gain of 11 yards. Addison Williams, one of the men on the stop.
Well, this offensive line for Arkansas is starting to figure things out now after struggling in the first half with all the different pressure and different looks the Gamecocks were bringing. They're giving plenty of time to Casey Dick. Take a look at it again here. He has all day. Finally just dumps it off. Good coverage downfield, but the Gamecocks not getting the pressure as they were in the first half.
It was actually Dennis Johnson on the reception. Now Barnett in the backfield. Dick feeds him, and Barnett, an ankle tackle away from the end zone. Emmanuel Cook doing a nice job of holding on. If he doesn't make that play, Barnett has got 6 points. What a drive.
Yeah, as you said before, this is a huge drive for Arkansas. They need to get 7 points out of this drive. Then they're just, 1 score away from possibly taking the lead and getting all the momentum back right now.
This will be the 14th play of the drive. Barrett stuffed inside the 5. Emmanuel Cook on another stop.
This is where it gets a little tougher, less operating room. Had a hole there for a moment. Tackle around the ankles, and then 2 or 3 guys up high.
Yeah, Matthews had him low, Cook had him high. Stop me if you've heard this before, Brad. It's 3rd and short.
And they've converted just about every time. If not, they've gone for it on 4th down. I would imagine they would do the same here.
3rd and a yard on the 15th play of the drive. Again, play action, and this is an easy touchdown for Arkansas. That is 82. The seldom used 82, Andrew Davey, one of the backup tight ends. No, Mitchell Bailey. Mitchell Bailey brings that in just a freshman out of Broken Bow, Oklahoma. And Brad, there was no one in his zip code.
Well, nobody knew who he was. I don't think he's touched the ball all year. No receptions, no runs. And the Razorbacks right back in it.
Extra point for Tejada. Splits the uprights. And the Razorbacks, with a very impressive drive, cut the Gamecock lead to 6, 20-14, our score. Captain Munnerlin's going to take it a couple yards deep out of the end zone and will regret that decision as he is stopped short of the 20. Now the Razorbacks with an impressive 15-play drive to make this a one-score game. Arkansas led by that man, Bobby Petrino. First year with Arkansas. Of course, 4 years in Louisville, that's where he really made a name for himself. 41-9 with Louisville. 15-play, 62-yard drive. He's seldom used fullback Mitchell Bailey on the touchdown reception. But at Louisville, Petrino, 4 consecutive bowl games, including the BCS victory in the 2006 Orange Bowl when they defeated Wake Forest. He was an assistant at Arizona State, Nevada, Auburn, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Bobby Petrino trying to get this Arkansas program to the next level. It's not as if Houston Nutt did a bad job. In fact, Nutt led Arkansas to 2 SEC championship games, was good for about 7 wins a year, but, you know, with the history of Arkansas comes a lot of expectations, Brad, and they're hoping Bobby Petrino can fulfill those expectations.
So far, it's worked out well for everybody. Houston Nutt doing a pretty good job at Ole Miss this year as well, and Gamecock swapping up quarterbacks. Garcia back in. This is a big drive now, just as that was for Arkansas. Gamecock defense needs a little rest, and they need to sustain a drive here.
Well, what that drive did, too, it took the crowd out of the game, at least for the time being. Now getting back in it a little bit. Garcia finding Jared Cook. Cook, who loves that drag across the field. They used that play to perfection a number of times against LSU.
Yeah, Jared Cook has potential to be a game breaker, as you saw earlier. Take a look at it here on the long touchdown reception. Here's the reception here to pick up the first down. But again, he always creates mismatches because usually you have to cover him with the defensive back because he's got that great speed, one of the fastest on the Gamecock receiving corps, even though he's listed as a tight end.
Now look at that number on the second half. Arkansas over 8 minutes here in the second half with the football. So Carolina's offense got to get oiled up and limber again after watching that lengthy drive the last time. Here's Mike Davis cut down. Mike Davis just cannot get anything going today.
And he looks like a much different runner today than he did, or that you're used to seeing him throughout his career, especially in the beginning of the season. He's a guy whose legs are always churning. He was always moving forward, but really the second half of the season, granted he hasn't gotten a lot of help with the blocking up front, but the legs just don't seem to have what they used to have. There doesn't seem to be as much drive. You see there, he just tried to hurdle a couple of defenders and went right to the ground.
Davis 8 carries, 12 yards. Steve Spurrier now in his 19th year, trying to pick up win number 7 this year. Has a chance to have the best year of the 4 here in Columbia. That's some confusion there. Steve Spurrier forced to call a timeout. That leaves the Gamecocks with just 1. That could be costly down the stretch. 20-14 our score with 2:34 remaining in the third quarter.
In the fourth quarter, it's Texas 22, Baylor 14. Also in the fourth, Georgia 35, Kentucky 31.
Mike Morgan, Brad Moore with you here at Columbia, South Carolina, Williams-Brice Stadium. We've had an interesting game thus far. Brad, it looked like this could be a laugher early on. Gamecocks dominating in every way, shape, and form early on in the first quarter. I go back, that big play, obviously, the missed field goal by Succop, but then that 70-yard touchdown, that served as 2 things. Number 1, it got the Razorbacks back in the game on the scoreboard. And number 2, it forces the defense to respect the deep ball.
And I think that's a huge factor there. I don't know what's more deflating, the big play or the 15-yard drive, 15-play drive.
Second down and 10. Garcia working from the gun. Pump fake. Now he'll tuck and run. And he's wrestled down at the 42-yard line. Now, again, it's positive yardage, but, Brad, I just don't know if that's what Steve Spurrier wants. He wants his quarterbacks to not give up on the play early.
Exactly, and a lot of times that's been the knock on Stephen Garcia, again, in his first year playing, is that if his primary option isn't open, he's been quick to tuck it and run. Now, he did a better job of that against Tennessee. He was able to not give up on plays so easily, but so far here, it's been tuck and run. Chris Smelley back in the ballgame.
Third down and 4 now as Smelley is back in. He'll work out of the shotgun. Davis to his right. Smelley has all day. Not anymore. Now he'll try to run, and he'll be out of bounds well short of the first down, and not a good drive there for Spurrier's offense. Gamecocks going to punt the football, and Arkansas will have a chance at its first lead today.
And similar to what happened last week, even though the Gamecocks beat Tennessee, obviously the lack of a running game, and other than Kenny McKinley, really not much out of the receiving core. The tight ends and the backs have caught a majority of the passes other than McKinley. Not many of the other receivers really getting involved in the offense today for South Carolina. That was the case last week against Tennessee as well.
Yeah, you had Joe Hills caught 1 pass for 2 yards, Mo Brown 1 for -4. That's been it other than McKinley. Spencer Lanning with a high kick and a fair catch at the 27 for the Razorbacks. So things getting interesting here in Columbia as the Razorbacks have their first chance to take the lead. Minute 18 left to go in the third quarter. And in motion is Jarius Wright to the top of your screen. Again on play action. Dick looking down, and there's a wide open man at the 40, past the 50, and out of bounds in Carolina territory. That is London Crawford. First time he's made a play today. Crawford came in with 21 catches on the year, the junior out of Mobile, Alabama.
All of a sudden, the South Carolina defense looks a little off balance. Haven't brought as much pressure, haven't been able to put any kind of pressure on Casey Dick really this half. And there's a strike in between a couple of defenders there, and a big gain after the catch as well. Something the Gamecocks aren't used to on defense. They're used to a lot of 3 and outs, and Arkansas moving the ball at will here in the second half.
30 yards on the play. Handoff up the middle. And stacked up after a couple. Shaq Wilson, one of the men on the tackle there.
Gamecock defense not known for causing a lot of turnovers. That really helped them last week in the win against Tennessee. Had an interception for a touchdown, had a long fumble return that helped set up a short touchdown pass to Kenny McKinley, but unable to force the big hit so far here today. And again, you think they've got to be tired after that 15-play drive just a few moments ago. The offense didn't help them out. They need to come up with something, mix it up a little, because they've put no pressure on Casey Dick here in the second half.
Second down, 8 yards to go. Gamecocks coming on the blitz. It's picked off by Jordan Lindsay. Lindsey down the sideline, cuts back at the 30, still on his feet, inside the 20 and down to the 15-yard line. Jordan Lindsey, the senior out of Mobile, just continues to make plays after play and always seems to make them in a big spot.
His third career interception and right on cue for the Carolina defense. We talked about how turnovers sparked them last week against Tennessee. There's a big spark there.
Jordan Lindsey, the Liberty Bowl hero, with a key play as the third quarter comes to an end. It'll be Gamecock football in good field position. Jordan Lindsey with a 40-yard interception, the third of his career. The senior out of Mobile, Alabama, making a huge play for this defense, which has played so well this year under first-year coordinator Ellis Johnson, who actually was with Arkansas at the beginning of the year in the offseason. And you see the Ellis effect, #1 in the SEC in passing defense, passing efficiency defense, and, of course, total defense, which also equates to #3 nationally. And we haven't been able to talk about a defense with those kind of numbers in a long time, Brad, but Ellis Johnson has made such an impact right away.
No, exactly. We talked about earlier, the defense for South Carolina this year has allowed 300 yards, total yards, to an opposing team only twice this year. So they've done a great job of really shutting down no matter who they've played. That's including teams such as LSU and Georgia and some of the other bigger names in the SEC. They've consistently shut teams down. Now Arkansas has moved the ball well here a little bit in the second half, but the big play there by Jordan Lindsey kind of spells that.
So first down and 10 from the 15. Gamecock offense will try to make it a 2-score lead again. Smelly telling the crowd to quiet down a little bit here. Wants to make sure he can hear everything. It's the snap. Arkansas coming on a blitz. Throw over the middle from McKinley. Batted around. Almost picked off, then almost caught, and finally falls to the ground.
Well, Arkansas love the call here defensively. They bring the noise. They bring the house. Willie Robinson rolling the dice there, the defensive coordinator for the Razorbacks. And McKinley doesn't drop too many, but of course this had some help on the tip. You take a look at it here. May have lost it there in the sun as well with the defender in his face. Had a chance at it, but couldn't pull it in.
Yeah, it's a tough play for Kenny McKinley.
Love the call, though, by defensive coordinator Willie Robinson. The Gamecocks just made a big play on defense. They tried to do the same.
Garcia back in the game now. Garcia going to lob it up, little fade to McKinley. Touchdown, Carolina.
They set that up perfectly, had all the traffic on the other side of the field, the top of the screen. And it's one-on-one for Kenny McKinley. They throw the fade. He brings it down for his 19th career touchdown. That ties Robert Brooks and Jamal Kelly for second all-time in South Carolina.
What a day at the office for Kenny McKinley. 7 catches, 130 yards. Succop on for the extra point. And he'll put it on the board. Gamecocks back on top, 27-14. On a 2-play, 15-yard drive after the turnover and the interception by Jordan Lindsay. Let's take another look.
One-on-one coverage. There's Smelly. Put some air underneath it. Blown coverage, really. How can you leave McKinley that wide open? An easy pitch and catch there. 6 for Carolina with the extra point, 7.
I'm not sure what Isaac Madison was looking for, but that number 11 guy, he's pretty good.
And it's not like they haven't seen him before. 4 years Kenny McKinley has played well against Arkansas. That's his second career touchdown against the Razorbacks. He had 7 catches against them last
year. Kenny McKinley, season best, 130 yards. 7 catches, 1 touchdown, and that gets the crowd going, and that gets perhaps this team going. It looked like Carolina was sleepwalking a little bit early on in the second half, but back now. 14:49 remaining. Gamecocks with a 27-14 lead.
And this place is electric right now. A sea of Garnet. Getting something to cheer about in the last home game of the year.
Again, this crowd finally getting to enjoy that hot, fiery ball of light that we like to call the sun. Every game's been a night game up to this point. We couldn't ask for better weather. Glad we could bring this to you under the sunshine. Drive summary, we could summarize this one in a hurry. It took 2 plays, and Kenny McKinley caught a pass from Garcia for 15 yards and a touchdown.
Well, Garcia needed that as well. He was struggling coming into the fourth quarter. He was just 3 out of 10. Of course, had the interception. Now he has a touchdown go with it. We talked about early. We'll see what happens with the outcome of this game, but let the quarterback controversy begin again.
Back to Arkansas, number 33, Dennis Johnson. Number 6, Brandon Burnett. Ryan Succop.
Again, a beautiful day here at Williams-Brice Stadium. Good crowd on hand. Gamecocks trying to pick up win number 7 before hitting to the road for the final 2 games of the year at Florida and Clemson. Succop absolutely crushes this football all the way to the back line of the end zone.
What was it they used to check on Ray Guy, a punter for the Raiders back in the day, to see if he had helium in the balls he was using?
Ryan Succop bringing his A game today on kickoffs, and with the exception of the 1 missed field goal, awfully strong in the kicking game, including a 54-yard effort earlier. So now the Razorbacks have to play catch-up, and this is not what they do best. Carolina defense might be able to pin their ears back here. Look for another turnover. You see Travian Robertson in the game. Shaq Wilson also in the game. Clifton gathers. A lot of the backups. Dustin Lindsay. Dick with time. Wide open now at the 30, 40, and down to the 44 with a penalty flag on the field in the secondary. DJ Williams. Again, he's 250. He's hard not to see, but for the 3rd time today, he is finding himself in open space.
This pass defense for South Carolina, one of the tops in the nation, and they've looked confused several times today. Several wide open receivers, including the long touchdown pass in the first half.
The offensive coordinator, incidentally, for Arkansas is Bobby Petrino's younger brother, Paul Petrino.
Right to the pass. Personal foul. face mask, number 1 on the defense. That penalty will be declined. Result of the play is a first down.
So Captain Munnerlyn with a 15-yard face mask penalty, but they deny it. I think that's a different rule in the NFL. I'm pretty sure in the NFL they would tack that on, but not here. In a way, it's almost a break because you add that on to the play itself, and that would have been a huge play. And it's still a big pickup for Arkansas. They've got it at the 43. Little trickery here, a reverse play. Carolina staying home and not much room for Jarius Wright.
And guess who? Eric Norwood in there as well. Norwood actually was blocked initially, was down on his knees, gets back up and makes the play. Actually ran right into him. Take a look at it here. Misdirection. I believe Casey Dick tried to throw a block on Norwood. Norwood pops right back up, wraps him up, still holding on to him, gets credit for the tackle.
8 tackles and 2 sacks today for number 40. He's on the heels of John Abraham and career sacks. Pass falls to the ground intended for Jarius Wright. He's become the go-to guy today for Casey Dick.
Straight up pressure there by the Gamecocks. Nothing fancy, but you had 3 or 4 defensive linemen for the Gamecocks just pushing blockers back into Casey Dick, and he had to get rid of it in a hurry or else his own linemen were going to be in his lap.
There's a key third down right here. 3rd down and 9. See Marvin Sapp in the game on the edge. Dick looking. He is sacked by who else? Eric Norwood. Norwood does it again.
And if you give an assist possibly to Marvin Sapp, he had the pressure initially. Norwood finishes him off, and he's just so quick for a big man. 6'1", 270 pounds. Watch him lined up like a defensive lineman. Nobody touches him. Gets around the tackle there. How can you not account for number 40? You at least got to get a glove on him.
Give him the hat trick. 3 sacks for Eric Norwood today. Arkansas will punt it away. Jeremy Davis back onto the field. Wobbling kick, not much hang time. Munnerlyn lets it bounce. And it'll stop dead at the 28-yard line. 12:43 remaining in this one. The Gamecocks up 27-14.
Carolina first and 10 to 28.
Gamecocks on first down. It's Smelly with the handoff to Eric Baker.
And this is where South Carolina would love to have a consistent running game to try to bring this clock down. A couple of possession lead back again.
5 yards for Baker in that huddle there. As you can see, kind of hiding behind LaCorn. Dion, get out of the man's way. He's having a great game. There's Eric Norwood. Eric Norwood, 3 sacks today. And Eric Norwood will tell you more about where he stands in Gamecock history in just a moment. But first, great run by Baker. Look out, if he breaks free, no one's going to catch him. A last effort tackle by Ernest Mitchell. Baker almost had what would have been the best run for that young man. Great block by Terrence Campbell on this play.
Yeah, take a look at it. Campbell pulling from right to left there. And again, Baker does a good job of setting up his block, running right behind him. And a big gainer right, almost broke it for 6.
20 yards, and again, this is the shiftiness. This is why Eric Baker is a guy that we're seeing a lot more of as a freshman ahead of a couple of seniors, because he does some things that I'm not so sure the other backs can do.
Longest run of his young career.
First and 10 from the 47. Here is Mike Davis. A nice pickup. Good blocking right now by this Gamecock offensive line. Alice Washington on the tackle after a gain of 5.
Again, this is something the Gamecocks have needed all season long, that running game averaging 2 yards per carry in SEC contests, and it's been consistently poor, but they could use it now to move the chains a little bit and wind that clock down.
Eric Norwood, with those 3 sacks today, he's now got 20 on his career. That is 3rd all-time behind John Abraham, who's got 23.5. Andrew Province, who played in the early 80s, with 26 career sacks. And again, he already is the all-time leader in tackles for loss. He just continues to blow away the record, the previous record in that department. Andrew Province had that record with 35, and Norwood, as you saw, right around 40 now.
Mike Davis with a nice gainer there. It's going to be close to a first down. They're going to have to measure.
And Norwood's a guy from Ackworth, Georgia. Georgia did not offer him a scholarship. Auburn was looking at him, but they backed off on a scholarship offer. It came down to South Carolina and Oklahoma State. And you say, well, how could teams overlook a guy with that kind of speed and quickness? For a lot of teams, it came down to one simple thing, his height.
Yep.
They list him at 6'1", but, you know, when you're tackling a guy, the whole idea is to get low. It really doesn't, being 6'4" doesn't help you a whole lot in that regard. Eric Norwood, there's a lot of teams that backed off on him before that look at him now and wish they would have signed him.
And again, showed his versatility playing defensive end early in his career, moved to a linebacker spot this year.
Davis stays in the game at tailback behind Chris Smelly here as the Gamecocks methodically moving down the field. Davis between the tackles and tripped up by Dallas Washington.
South Carolina like to keep this going without having to put the ball in the air, as we've said. And Gamecocks mixing it up a little bit with Mike Davis and Eric Baker. It seems like every time Eric Baker has a good run, Mike Davis gets a little bit more on his next carry. We talked about he doesn't seem to have the legs that he had early in the season, but maybe a little threatened here by the youngster in the late going. Would like to keep his spot on the field.
Second down and 7 yards to go. Here's Baker back in the game. Baker slicing and dicing his way across the 30 and down at the 29-yard line. A couple yards shy of the first down. Malcolm Shepard with the stop for the Razorbacks. Gamecocks now over 100 yards rushing, and that's been a rare feat this year.
Yeah, the Gamecocks had less than 100 yards rushing in 5 games this year, so more than half their games have been held under that total.
Carolina 27 rushes, 107 yards. Baker stays in the game behind DeMarco. 3rd down and 2. Play clock's at 1. Better get it off. They don't. And either a timeout or a penalty. Timeout called. Steve Spurrier looking on, and caught it at the last second. And the Gamecocks forced to burn a timeout here.
We have timeout. South Carolina. That is their third and final timeout.
So final timeout used by Steve Spurrier and company here with 8 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. The Gamecocks enjoying a 27-14 lead.
The Gamecock Nation is the Gamecock Club. Give Coach Spurrier and the Gamecocks the support they deserve.
With Brad Muller, I'm Mike Morgan. Glad to be with you here at Williams-Brice Stadium on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. The Razorbacks making a good run here in the early part of the second half. The Gamecock defense once again making plays, opportunistic and setting up the offense.
Had to take the final time out there. You hate to burn it, but the Gamecocks had to do it. Obviously want to keep it third and short and keep this drive alive, because a chance to really put this game away, possibly if they get 6 more here in the end zone. Arkansas with 2 timeouts remaining. But this Arkansas team has played so much better since the season began. They struggled against a couple of smaller non-conference foes in the beginning of the season, then had the tough part of their schedule with, I think, LSU and Texas and I believe Florida all back-to-back. They were blown out in those games, but they played pretty well, or a little bit more consistent since then, and we've seen a little bit more from them on offense today. They could still be a dangerous team.
Bobby Petrino just waiting to get more of his type of players in here. Again, this is not just a new coaching staff, it's a whole new philosophy on how to run an offense, and that's what Bobby Petrino is known for, is his offense. Their defensive coordinator, Willie Robinson, he's been around a long time, 30 years of experience, 12 in the NFL, 18 in college, and he's got a defense that's banged up and kind of a patchwork defense right now. Extremely young, again, replacing all 4 players in the secondary. So they've had their work cut out for them as a staff, but you can see signs of improvement. You can see this Arkansas program going in the right direction.
Yeah, the SEC obviously known as one of the best conferences in the country, and usually it's the SEC East that gets most of the headlines because of the traditional powers there, Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee. But now the West in recent years, of course, with what LSU has done and what Alabama is doing this year, the improvement you're seeing out of Arkansas and the improvement out of Ole Miss, and the West is giving the East a run for their money now.
Well, especially with a program like Tennessee down, and how down are they? At last count, we saw Tennessee trailing to Wyoming. That's Wyoming, folks. We'll see what happens there. Third down and 2. Again, the Gamecocks, no timeouts remaining. They hope that they don't need them. Smelly stays in. Mike Davis dots the I. That's Mo Brown in motion. And now an audible. Play clock's at 9. Smelly to Davis, right side, got it. Down to the 25. Jamar Love on the stop.
Gamecock crowd holding the breath, because you'd like to think you can pick up 2 yards every time you run the football, but the way they've struggled, that's a huge play for the Gamecocks. A good hole on the right side of the line. Terrence Campbell, one of the linemen, in there as well, opening up the hole, and the Gamecocks keep the clock running.
4 yards there for Mike Davis. They haven't come easy for Davis. 12 carries, 29 yards. Now Garcia back in the game, and he's got Eric Baker behind him. Baker. Some nifty footwork there. Crosses the 20 and goes down at about the 18-yard line. 7 yards for Eric Baker. This might be the best game we've seen Eric Baker have.
Don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill, but this is what South Carolina needs, is the ability for a running back to make somebody miss, and that's what he does here. A little shake and bake, gets around that guy, gets him by the shoestrings, really. And that's something the Gamecocks haven't had all season long. They haven't had a breakaway back. Mike Davis had a 50-yard run, I believe, in the season opener, but there have been no long runs for the Gamecocks on the ground since then.
Baker getting a little cleat work done on the sideline. Nice job by Jamon Meredith on that last play, pulling from left to right. Same play here, except it's Davis this time on the carry. And he'll go down to 15.
On the carry, Carolina. Ready working for Arkansas to tackle.
Still plenty of time in this game. It would be a very big score, even if you have to just settle for a field goal. You'll want to get on the board here. It looks like it's going to be 3rd and short. 3rd and maybe a foot.
Garcia's in there. Smelly's the quarterback sneak specialist, however.
And it will be Garcia falling forward. That might be the best running play in the bag right now. Carolina always seems to do well on those particular plays. But again, a great game for Eric Baker today. Career best, 59 yards on 9 carries. This drive now, 10 plays. 3rd down tells the story in the 6 wins for the Gamecocks, 44%. The 3 losses, 33%. The last 2 games, incidentally, Carolina really was struggling at 5 of 26 on 3rd down, but picking up the pace a little bit here today. Now on 1st down, it is Davis, breaks a tackle at the 5 and scampers into the end zone.
3rd rushing touchdown of the season for Mike Davis. And the senior, playing in his last game at Williams-Brice, breaks a tackle, got some good blocking on the right side of the line as well. Nifty little move. And Gamecocks looking to put this one away.
Well, you like to see that. Mike Davis in his final home game, the senior, on homecoming. Eric Baker has led the way, but Mike Davis on a key play there, and that could very well salt this one away as Ryan Succop remains perfect on the year with extra points. Carolina now up 20 as Mike Davis finds pay dirt. Continues to kill the football. I mean, he's just kicking the air out of it at this point.
Are you sure he's kicking off from the 30? It's almost like he's cheating somehow.
Yeah. I tell you what, Ryan Succop maybe had 2 bowls of Wheaties this morning. Mike Davis, the senior, 13-yard touchdown run. That gives him 19 for his career. That means he's all alone in 8th place. He was tied with Thomas Dendy and Mike Dingle. And again, the all-time career record, George Rogers, Harold Green with 31. Not going to catch those 2 guys, but Davis continues to move up the charts. Now Arkansas now in desperation mode. Here's another sack. The ball comes loose, picked up by Stewart. Officials have not made a ruling here. Now they have. Touchdown. Well, everybody just kind of looked at each other. Cliff Matthews knocking that ball loose. Darian Stewart picks it up. And a touchdown for the Gamecock defense.
Well, the Gamecock defense scores its 3rd touchdown of the season. Had one last week on the interception by Stoney Woodson. Earlier it was Nathan Pepper returning one, the defensive lineman. The pressure by Matthews, the pickup by Stewart, and the Gamecocks now have a season high in scoring.
They are going to review this. Again, everybody just kind of stood around. You see the Arkansas players, they stopped. The officials really didn't give you any indication, which actually is the better of the 2 moves. The last thing you want to do is blow the whistle if you're not sure. Cliff Matthews just hammering Casey Dick. The ball comes out. The question is when.
Take a look at it again. This might be coming back. Take a look. Where's the ball? I believe he's down. Yeah, that's going to come back. So right now the Gamecocks looks like they'll still match their season high in scoring.
This is the kind of play that shouldn't take that long to review. I don't recall too many quick reversals this year.
One more look at it, and there's Norwood on the outside, and can't forget about Cliff Matthews, the sophomore.
Review, it has been determined that the runner was down at the 13-yard line. It'll be second down.
And that's what instant replay is there for. The left knee clearly down before the ball comes out, so Arkansas will come back.
Well, Matthews will get his 3rd sack of the season anyway, and big play. The Gamecocks have been able to bring a lot of pressure. Arkansas moved the ball a little bit in the 3rd quarter, and that big play by Jordan Lindsay really kind of took all the air out of the Arkansas offense.
Gamecock defense, you know they'll be pinning their ears back right here. It's Eric Norwood on the edge. He's already got 3 sacks. How about a 4th? Arkansas running the football. And the element of surprise working as weaving his way through tacklers is Brandon Barnett. Finally, Marvin Sapp with the tackle on a 20-yard run.
Maybe one of the longer runs against the Gamecocks this season. You're right, nobody saw it coming, but good blocking downfield. Makes a couple of guys miss. That's poor tackling by a usually sure tackling South Carolina defense.
Pretty solid effort by Brandon Barnett. If he joined us late, Michael Smith injured in the 2nd quarter. We haven't seen him since. And a slant pattern. Nice grab by Greg Childs. He paid the price for it. Chris Culver coming hard.
Well, this Arkansas offense has been up and down today, but they've shown glimpses of being able to obviously move the football against a very good defense. So they've got something working here, and if they can keep things going down the home stretch of their season. Casey Dick, as long as he doesn't make too many mistakes, had the interception, of course, earlier. That was a rally killer, and yeah, the injury to Michael Smith could be huge. They've got a big target in DJ Williams as well.
The Gamecocks, incidentally, 6 sacks today, matching the total last week against Tennessee. 24 sacks for the year. Now 2nd and 3. It is Brandon Barnett.
The clock's still running. The Razorbacks in hurry-up mode here. Obviously, the Gamecocks will give up the short plays here. Arkansas staying with the running game. Another down, 3 scores.
Looked like the Razorbacks got away with an early jump by DeMarcus Love there, the guard. 5 yards on the pickup, 1st down and 10 for the Razorbacks. This time it's Dick back to pass, completes it. And another situation where an Arkansas receiver finds himself in open space. Lucas Miller wide open, and he'll have another 1st down. And down on the field is Addison Williams.
Some hard hitting going out there. You watch the play again. Here's Lucas Miller wide open over the middle. We've seen about 3 blown coverages by the South Carolina defense today.
That is actually 17, not 7. Chris Culver, who got his bell rung on that play, but good sign there. He's walking off on his own power. Meanwhile, the Razorbacks trying to find the end zone here, trailing 34-14. Going deep down the field, and nobody's looking for the ball. And a late penalty flag thrown, and now a 2nd one thrown.
Boy, we're going to call some bumping on Carolina. London Crawford wasn't even looking for the reception.
You had two guys going down that left side that never turned their head for the ball.
Pass interference, number 7 defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
You know, one thing is for sure, word gets out, Brad, in the SEC in a hurry. Addison Williams, when he's on the field, is going to get picked on.
Yeah, he's a marked man. Got picked on a little bit last year as a freshman, and Gamecocks shuffle in a lot of different defensive backs in there. Obviously, Chris Culliver was out with the injury on the previous play, and he got picked on again.
Williams goes to the sideline. Munnerlyn and Thomas, the two cornerbacks here. On first down. Dick, here comes the blitz. He is pummeled.
Oh. Gamecock rushed about 7 on the play. They said enough of this, of giving Casey Dick some time. He did well just to get rid of the football, as he was absolutely hammered to the ground.
What makes it so tough against this Gamecock blitz, you never know where it's coming from.
Exactly. See the big hit there by a big man, Jasper Brinkley, all 275 pounds of him.
There's a 52 tattooed onto Casey Dick's chest right now. Hard hit right there. Second down and 10. This is actually Nathan Dick. Nathan Dick takes it himself, and he takes a hit. Nathan Dick, the brother of Casey Dick, both out of Allen, Texas. He is a redshirt freshman. I don't know if Casey got nicked up or if Bobby Petrino just felt like making a change, but we certainly weren't expecting Nathan Dick to play today.
Now Tyler Wilson's usually listed as the backup quarterback, a freshman from Greenwood, Arkansas.
Third down and 5. Dick delivers, again wide open, and a touchdown for Arkansas. Penalty flag on the play. But Lucas Miller, who's had the hot hand in this second half, if the penalty's on Carolina, it's a touchdown, but it's not. It's a personal foul on Arkansas.
Wow. And probably had nothing to do with the play. We'll check it. But that's a big one, taking 6 off the board.
Personal foul, hands to the face, number 65, offense, 15-yard penalty, replay, third down.
I'll tell you what, this pass defense for South Carolina ranked number 1 in the SEC, coming in one of the tops in the nation. We'll take another look, see if we can see the hands to the face here.
DeMarcus Love. Yep. He's got, I couldn't see who that was on from that angle.
Yeah.
But you could see whoever the Gamecock player was, that white helmet just being thrusted backwards.
This was the most vulnerable we've seen the South Carolina pass defense all year.
So now it's 3rd and 20. Dick going down the sideline, has a man and knocked free, incomplete. Nice play by Auguste. Intended for Jarius Wright, who caught the touchdown earlier. But Akeem Auguste, who is going to be a good one, folks. Akeem Auguste, the freshman out of Hollywood, Florida, number 3. Steve Spurrier says he's just a flat-out player.
Auguste a little nicked up on the play. Take another look at it here. Culliver was back in. That's good news. Take a look at the pass. Throws a pretty ball here. It was actually right in his hands. Couldn't hold on to it.
Arkansas 1 for 1 on 4th down, but this one is 4th and 20. They need the 15-yard line. Again, Dick going down the far sideline, and it's knocked away incomplete, but another penalty flag thrown, and this will likely go against the Gamecocks. Greg Childs was the intended receiver. Carlos Thomas was in on the coverage.
Well, Carlos Thomas looked like he had good position. Not sure if someone else got a little bump there. There was 2 black jerseys over there. That was a tough play anyway, looking right up into the sun here in the late afternoon.
Pass interference, number 17, defense.
I tell you what, you see a replay of this one.
Here it is. They called on
I think
Culliver.
They got Culliver.
Yeah, because Thomas was in position, possibly to make the interception.
If you're Carlos Thomas, you can't play that any better.
Yeah.
That's got to be on Culliver. Either way, it keeps Arkansas live for the moment. Keep in mind the Razorbacks still need 3 touchdowns. Dick looking over the middle, incomplete. Again, going for Lucas Miller. Chris Culliver back there on the coverage.
So against this big pass rush by South Carolina with all the different blitz packages we've seen, Arkansas quarterbacks have to get rid of the ball in a hurry here, looking for the quick release over the middle. Culliver looked like he was just going for the ball, trying to slap it away. If that ball's caught, he could go in for 6, as Culliver really didn't play the man very well.
I would have thought we would have gone from Casey Dick and Michael Smith to Nathan Dick and a trio of backup tailbacks. But this Nathan Dick is going down. He somehow threw it away. And it'll go down as an incomplete pass. Marvin Sapp was all over Nathan Dick, and somehow he got off the pass.
Marvin Sapp was probably as surprised as anyone that he didn't get a sack recorded on that play, because he went down low, had them all wrapped up. Take a look at it here. He's got them all squared up, wrapped them up, and boy, how does he stay on his feet long enough to get rid of it?
Marvin Sapp, who recorded his first career sack a week ago, he's 3rd on the team with tackles. He's really had a terrific year. Took 4 years for Marvin Sapp to be a true impact player, but he's been great this season. On 3rd down, it's caught, and initial tackle broken by Miller. He's out of bounds, shy of the first down, a gain of 8.
Odd routes there. The Razorbacks had a couple of receivers about 5 yards from each other. I don't know if they were trying to set up the hook and lateral or some kind of trickery there, or if it was just a blown route. They had 2 receivers in the same area, still able to pick up a gainer.
4th and 2. Razorbacks need the 10. That's Casey Dick. It looks okay. How does it feel to be yanked for your brother?
Yeah. Well, I think South Carolina tried to call timeout, but they can't. They can't call timeout. They've used all 3 of theirs. They had too many men on the field again. It's about the 3rd time we've seen that today out of the South Carolina defense. They called timeout, but you can't do that. Unlike basketball, you're not going to get a technical foul.
And now they're disregarding it. And Carolina's lucky that Arkansas didn't hurry up that snap. Dick delivers, caught right at the goal line and just shy. The linesman marking Lucas Miller inches shy of the goal line.
A pretty good play there by Arkansas. You're right, though. That ball in a hurry, or if the officials let them snap it, they're going to get 6 easy. Pretty good coverage there. Just fires it in where only the receiver can get it. Razorbacks moving the ball again through the air, surprisingly.
If you're Arkansas, why are you even taking time to huddle?
Yeah.
You need 3 scores. Just go in and punch it in. Slow developing play. Handoff to Barnett, and he burrows his way into the end zone for a touchdown. So a bizarre drive, which was facilitated by 2 passing interference penalties.
Take a look at it again. Just hops over the top, just gets enough. He broke the plane barely. His first touchdown of the season for Barnett, 2nd of his career.
Razorbacks will go for 1. 2 doesn't do you any good. Extra point is good. So 34-21 now the score. Arkansas 2 onside kicks away from being right in business. Stranger things have happened, but maybe not in our lifetime.
Take a look at it here. Not a huge surge, but just enough. He gets lower than Jasper Brinkley and in for 6.
A 13-play, 80-yard drive. That's the good news if you're Arkansas. The bad news, it took over 5 minutes, 5:03 to be exact. So now the clock is Carolina's ally. 1 minute and 18 seconds left to go in this game, and obviously the hands team will come out onto the field for Carolina. They're expecting the ball to come to the near side. That's where most of the black jerseys are lined up, at the 40-yard line.
This Arkansas team keeps getting better and better as the season progresses. May not translate into a bowl berth for them. They certainly have shown improvement and have moved the ball at times very well against this very good South Carolina defense.
Here's Tejada, telegraphing the onside kick, and not a very good bounce, recovered by Emmanuel Cook. Carolina will have it, and a chance to just salt this one away as some tempers flaring. And Arkansas, this is not the way you want to go out. See a couple of the coaches from the Gamecocks pushing back players. No need to get in any tussle right here. Javon Meredith looked like he might have been involved in that fracas. Steve Spurrier saying, come on, guys.
Yeah, let's just get out of here with a W, he says.
Let's take the win. Go home. Carolina about to improve to 7-3 overall, 4-3 in the SEC. Gamecocks haven't had an 8-win regular season in quite some time. Got to go back to 2001.
And Steve Spurrier, of course, more wins in 4 years than anyone in his first 4 years than any other South Carolina coach in history. Still trying to sort out who the penalty would be on.
There were offsetting personal fouls on the play. Also, number 17 from South Carolina is ejected for fighting.
Wow. It's Chris Culver. Didn't see that. Didn't see what he did to warrant that. Offsetting penalties. Nobody ever likes offsetting penalties.
Yeah.
You always think it's on the other guy and only the other guy. So Culver ejected with 1:14 remaining.
And there's just no reason for that, regardless. Don't know what started it. Obviously some trash talking led to it at some point, or some frustration, but whoever's at fault, just get off the field and play again.
Culver's had a pretty good day at the office. 7 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Now you can add an ejection to that stat line. Bobby Wallace is in the game for Carolina. Brandon Barnett, he became a factor. Didn't expect him to, but some injuries today for Arkansas. And the main one being to Michael Smith. Arkansas can ill afford to lose him. I mean, he's really the spark plug that makes this offense go. Arkansas having to become a lot more one-dimensional throwing the football in this game. Bobby Wallace takes a loss of 2 on the play. As the clock ticks away, again, the Gamecocks going to improve to 7-3 on the year. And I think if you would ask most fans beginning of the year, would you take 7-3 going into the final 2-game stretch? Most fans would say absolutely. Bobby Wallace is crushed behind the line again. And that will bring this one to a close. First ever meeting between these two coaches, Steve Spurrier and Bobby Petrino. 2 men who have a great deal of respect for one another, and 2 men who both coached in the pros for a short time. Final score from Williams-Brice Stadium, 34-21. The Gamecocks are victorious.